Welcome to Jacobs Field for the 2004 Senate Athletic League Championship in baseball. Hi everybody, I'm Adam Mendoza along with my partner once again this year, Tim Wells, and we've got another great matchup, but with some familiar teams here for this championship game in the city of Cleveland. Two-time defending champion John Marshall taking on Lincoln West.
And you're absolutely right, Adam. It started 10 years ago when the Cleveland school kids were offered the opportunity to play here. And at that time, John Marshall was involved against South. And in those 10 years, John Marshall's made this a habit of coming back. As you said, they're the defending champ not just from last year, but 2 years ago. The young lady lawyers have done it 3 years in a row, and the boys are going to try to match it today.
Well, they have a tough ball club, and they are loaded with pitching, John Marshall, that is. And when you look at it against Lincoln West, the keys, as we look at this game, is going to be pitching, as always, in this championship game.
Well, when you look at the keys for Lincoln West, when we talked to their coach, Tom Castleberry, he made it very clear to us that, listen, we got to play good defense, and they got to have no walks. That was one of the biggest concerns. Lincoln West is a streak team, and right now they've been hitting the ball extremely well in this last stretch in the playoffs, so they're hot right now.
Well, you look at it, Lincoln West 9-2 on the season. In the previous matchup between these two teams, Lincoln West beat John Marshall 7-2. John Marshall's coming into this league championship game with a 12-1 mark. In the playoffs, Lincoln West beat Glenville 16-6. Meanwhile, John Marshall beat Rhodes 6-2.
Yeah,
7-2 on that one.
And you're absolutely, a lot of people question that was the only loss that John Marshall had all year. But when you look at John Marshall, and we keep bringing him back defending, they have a lot of talent. They have the league's most valuable player. It's a spark plug. But when you take a look at Lincoln West, let's look at first of all, their key players, because they're going to play a big role. On the left is Dwayne Jones. He'll be their pitcher, and he really comes on with a good fastball and a decent curveball. Also, you're going to look at Alberto Rodriguez, their shortstop. He's a good hitter with a great arm. And then Sean McElwain to hit number 22. This guy's always there. He plays hard. And on the right, Michael Scarborough, kind of a streak hitter, and he's right now hitting the ball well. He's also their number 2 pitcher on the team.
Well, when you look at it, as you look at the coaches for Lincoln West, Tim and Tom Castleberry, those guys have gotten this team this far, and those are the big leaders for this team on the coaching staff.
You have to be, when you look at these two guys as coaches, they stress fundamentals. You probably have the best coaches right now in the Senate as far as teaching the game. There's been some great coaches that we've seen here year after year from Tim Hogan that do fundamentals, but putting them both on the field, these guys believe that if you teach the game, the kids are going to develop and they'll play.
Well, for John Marshall, this team has been to the championship game. It is nothing new for them. They've gotten here a number of times, and you look at their key players. Chris Tucker, their shortstop, he's a solid kid. He's the MVP of the league, works hard. He is one of your key guys out there. Also, Eddie Blake, the catcher, also doubles up as a pitcher. In the previous game against Glenville, he had a complete game win in that matchup. And then you have Pete Burchard, the third baseman, a good hitter who's got a good work ethic and does everything well. He normally plays second base. He's going to be moving over to third base. And then you've got the pitcher, Frankie Montez. This is a kid. We saw him play in Class F. He can really dominate things in a ball game as you look at the coaches, Eric Fry and Tony Broski.
Yeah, and Eric Fry and Tony Broski have been here before. Again, fundamentals. They're going to put pressure on Lincoln West. They're going to try to make things happen. So when you look at this game, it comes down to two big keys, the way I see it. Number one is the team that has the least amount of walks. Both coaches have talked about that. And I also believe the team that hits the ball best is the team that's going to win here today.
Well, we'll find out. The 2004 Senate Athletic League Championship is coming up next on TV 23.
Adam, you going to toss to him? The PA guy.
What's his name again?
Frank Montez.
Okay. And let's head over to PA announcer Frank Montez for today's pregame ceremonies.
Go, Frank.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jacobs Field. Introducing the 2004 Cleveland Municipal Schools Softball All-Star nominations are from Collinwood, Sierra Shady, From J.F. Rhodes, Rosalie Navarro. From J.F. Rhodes, Kathleen Perkrule. From J.F. Rhodes, Carrie Poon. From JFK, Jessica Batty. From JFK, Janet Marrero. From JFK, Sierra Harris. From John Marshall, Norma Rodriguez. From John Marshall, Veronica Nada. From John Marshall, Alicia Rambeau. From Lincoln West, Samantha Jones. From Lincoln West, Denise Alicea. From South, Chantel Richardson. And the girls' most valuable player from John Marshall, Betsy Avilés. Now introducing the 2004 Cleveland Municipal Schools Baseball All-Star nominations. From Glenville, Robert Ward. From Glenville, Ja'Cory Stone. From Glenville, Daryl Blair. From J.F. Rhodes, Jim Kiefer. From J.F. Rhodes, Justin Washburn. From J.F. Rhodes, William Hawkins. From JFK, Joshua Gardner. From JFK, Raphael Collins. From John Marshall, Ed Blake. From John Marshall, Pete Bircher. From John Marshall, Frankie Montez. From Lincoln West, Dwayne Jones. From Lincoln West, Alberto Rodriguez. From Lincoln West, Sean McIlwain. From South, Denny Nez. From South, Glenn Winston. The most valuable player was from John Marshall, Chris Tucker. And the coach of the year from Lincoln West, Tom Castleberry. Also, the Coach of the Year from East High for the girls softball, Joe Marshall. We have a special presentation at the home plate area by Mr. Leonard Jackson, the Commissioner of Athletics. We'd like to introduce Mr. Jackson and Mrs. Gerald Moss. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for the girls softball all-stars and the boys baseball all-stars, the 2004. The plaque that was given to Miss Gerald Moss, dedicated to Gerald Moss on behalf of the Cleveland Municipal School District and the Senate baseball coaches. We dedicate this city championship for his exemplary service as baseball coach at Glenville High School. And now we'll have the players in the introduction.
We'll do this. It'll start with the coach to the left, and we can go. We're ready.
Introducing the Wolverines of Lincoln West, the manager, Tom Castleberry, the assistant coach, Tim Castleberry. The players, number 13, Jeffrey Camarda. Number 15, Edgar Zarago. Number 25, Joshua Sanchez. And their starting lineup. Number 10, in right field, Antonio Nieves. Number 22, the second baseman, Sean McIlwain. Number 19, the shortstop, Alberto Rodriguez. Number 20, the pitcher, Dwayne Jones. Number 28, first baseman, Edgardo Diaz. Number 16, The third baseman, Michael Scarborough. Number 18, the DH, Nick Neese. Nick Neese, the DH, will be hitting for number 9, the left fielder, Derek Barreto. Number 23, the center fielder, Anthony Miranda. And number 17, the catcher, Steven Calbahar. Introducing the Lawyers of John Marshall. Their manager, Eric Fry. The assistant coach, Tony Broski. Number 1, Mike Picorni. Number 5, Jerry Delfasi III. Number 9, Eugene Jerko. Number 10, James Kelty. Number 12, Michael Dreamer. Number 13, Justin Dunning. Number 14, Matt Baringo. Number 20, Alex DeLeese. Number 22, Brad Danforth. And their starting lineup, number 3, the shortstop, Chris Tucker. Number 2, the center fielder, Joel Malaya. Number 6, the catcher, Eddie Blake. Number 18, the third baseman, Pete Birchner. Number 11, the first baseman, Matt Kurtz. Number 4, the DH, Alex Bonilla. Number 8, the left fielder, Sean Mullins. Number 17, the right fielder, James McCoy. Number 7, the second baseman, Darrell Peters. And on the mound, number 21, Frankie Montez. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and honor our nation with its national anthem, sung by Miss Sherry Davis, a student from South High High School.
Hello. 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 Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will have our ceremonial first pitch, which will be thrown by the former supervisor of interscholastic athletics of Cleveland Municipal Schools, Mr. Bill Repa.
They have just about concluded, and Adam, it all starts with the men in blue. Before we talk about the teams, these are umpires that will be calling today's game. They're from the Greater Cleveland Umpires Association. To the left is the home plate umpire, Henry Thompson, 28 years, retired teacher of the Cleveland Municipal Schools. Dave Kolkel will be at first base next to him, again, 14 years. Second baseman umpire is going to be Kevin Stowers,
Our umpires
15 years.
for today's championship
and third
game
base,
are
David Napower. Again, 15 years, a lot of experience with the Greater Cleveland umpires today.
And they are going to have a hands full with these two pitchers in this game, and I expect a very good game this afternoon as we're just about set for the first pitch of this championship game in 2004 between the Lincoln West Wolverines, as you see them getting ready before the game, and the John Marshall Lawyers. John Marshall coming into this game, as we said, the two-time defending champions, looking to make it a three-peat. And Tim, it's hard enough to repeat. It's even harder to three-peat.
Yeah, and when you're talking about being on top and, like you said, trying to win it, but the Lincoln West Wolverines come in and they're on a hot streak. They've been swinging the hot bats, and when you take a look at their lineup, Adam, it's a pretty potent one right now.
Well, Antonio Nieves is going to be the right fielder. He'll be hitting first for Lincoln West. He's hitting .324. Then playing second base will be Sean McElwain. He's hitting .231. In the third spot will be Alberto Rodriguez. He's hitting .457, and he is playing shortstop. Dwayne Jones will be pitching. He's hitting .517 on the year. Edgardo Diaz will be following him at first base, followed by Marco Scarborough, Nick Neese, Anthony Miranda, and Stephen Carbajal.
Well, as we see, when you talk about the Lincoln West Wolverines, right now, they're hot. They're going to need to keep the bats, but they're going to face a pretty good team in the John Marshall defense. And when you look at them defensively, it doesn't get better than the middle of that infield. Chris Tucker is all-league MVP, Greater Cleveland All-Stars. Eddie Blake has been here before. You're looking at four of them that were on this field last year that wanted to win a championship and did it. Again, they got a good center fielder in Joel Maena who can go get them. The key here is Daryl Peters will be starting at second, and Pete Birchner, who's normally played second, moved over to third. But again, Eric Fry felt comfortable with it. One of his players couldn't be here today, so they're going to rely on the defense in the infield to carry him. But the big key is going to be the starting pitching, and they have a big-time pitcher. This kid came off the Sandlots. We've seen it before, Frankie Montez. And let's go over to hear what their coach had to say about his starting pitcher today.
Our starting pitcher is Frankie Montez. He throws a good fastball, curveball, and changeup. He's a strikeout pitcher. We're looking for him to go deep into this game.
As the pitcher there, you see him warming up on the mound here at Jacobs Field. And Tim, we've seen him in the Class F League. This kid has got a lot of control, but like Coach Fry says, if he starts walking players and he gets into trouble early, he will have no hesitation in pulling him out of this ball game.
And it's amazing when you talk to both coaches at different times, folks, the biggest concern of both managers, the walks. We can't afford to give up walks because it's going to cause us problems. Now, I saw him in the last playoff game, Adam, and let me tell you, defensively, both teams looked good. But you know as well as I do, when you come to Jacobs Field, it's a different field. It's a little bit more nervousness. It's a big-time hype until they settle down. That could be a role, especially for the Wolverines.
Well, actually, you're correct there, Tim, because you look at it, John Marshall has been here the last 2 years, so they're pretty comfortable being here in this championship game. It's been a couple of years since Lincoln West, and that really is a different team that was here back in 2001 as compared to this team in 2004. But when you look at John Marshall, they have been here the last 2 straight years. Their core team still back here. They know what it's like to win city championships. And then when you look at Eddie Blake, the catcher, he knows what his job is behind the plate. He's got to stop everything and not let anything get in back of him.
Well, as you mentioned, Adam, it's all going to be on the defense, and catcher does play a key role.
Well, as we're just about set for the first pitch of this 2004 championship game, Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells. Glad to have you along on TV 23 as the first pitch from Montez is grounded to the shortstop, easily picked up by Tucker, and he gets him out on the first play of the game. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's the way you like it.
Again, that day was hitting 324, Adam, and you can see Montez is going to challenge the hitter. And you can see here, this is why you're looking at a guy that was the MVP of the league. He not only does it with the bat, but he does it with the glove as well.
Well, that'll bring up Sean McElwain, the 11th grader that's playing second base, 5'6", 140 pounds. First pitch goes in for a ball, averaging .231 on the season. His favorite player, Chipper Jones. Coach calls him really a throwback type of player as Montez throws that one into the dirt. And really, Frankie Montez and the first batter was able to go 1 pitch, 1 out. Now he's going to have to gain his control as we take a look from our center field cameras. Montez fires, goes upstairs. And there you see Blake telling him, hey, you got to bring the pitch down. And he may be wild a little bit early because the excitement of it all, because he did not get to play in this championship game last year. 3-0 count, goes for a strike. No score here, 1 out, top of the first inning here at Jacobs Field as John Marshall in the white jerseys, the pinstripes, come in. Right down the pipe for a strike. That makes the count go to 3-2. For McElwain, 5 RBIs on the season. He scored 15 times. That one upstairs, so he is the first player to get on base for Lincoln West. And that brings up Alberto Rodriguez, the shortstop. Comes into this championship game hitting .457 on the year. And for McElwain, we'll have to watch him on the bases. He has 6 stolen bases on the season. McElwain, a junior. The pitch from Montez just missing.
You know, one of the things, Adam, that we talked about Eddie Blake before the game as far as blocking the ball, but percentage-wise, this guy has thrown out over 50% of the runners this year. He's got a strong arm.
This one is lifted high. Shortstop. Tucker is there, and he makes the catch. 2 outs in the inning, still a runner on first base. For Frankie Montez, you look at him, he comes into this game with a 5-4 record, but it's really deceiving. It includes a 2-1 loss to a good North Olmsted team. He also pitched toe-to-toe with Valley Forge, Steve Junker, in a 4-0 sectional loss. That went in for a ball for Alberto Rodriguez, hitting .457 on the year. 9 RBIs, 13 runs scored.
Again, you're looking now at their cleanup hitter, Adam, Dwayne Jones. And when you talk to their coach, he said, hey, he's the MVP of our team. He's the guy that we want to go to when we're looking for a big hit. He's got a little bit of power. So, again, as a power hitter, he's also proved that he can make a lot of contact, which is pretty rare when you have that kind of power sometimes.
1-1 count from Montez. Goes upstairs, and he gets him swinging. Montez going up high, and Lincoln West is giving chase. 2 outs here, top of the first inning. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Got that one through the diving and an errant throw. And nobody at third. Montez is going to cover the play, and he's safe at third. The bad throw from the outfield makes a difference, and now it's runners at second and third instead of first and second.
Again, we talk about, base hit up the middle. You see, goes with the pitch. Now, here's where you overplay. He can easily see that this guy is already standing on third base, no intention of going anywhere, and he short arms the ball. So instead of first and second with 2 out, now they've got second and third, and they got Edgardo Diaz up, who's been driving in a lot of runs for him in the playoffs.
Edgardo Diaz, the senior, 5'9", 170, hitting .321 on the year, takes and swings and misses. So now Lincoln West with runners at second and third. And Montez finding himself in a bit of a jam. Breaking ball misses. 1-1 the count. Diaz, a good defensive first baseman. Also pitched 5 innings of solid relief against Collinwood. This one's fouled up and right below us.
I was going to get my fish net there for a minute, Adam.
1-2 the count on Edgardo Diaz. No score, top of the first inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs here, top of the first inning at Jacobs Field. Well, that one looked good, but just missing. 2-2 the count goes. 2-2 count. Montez fires in the dirt. Good block there by the catcher, Eddie Blake, Greater Cleveland All-Star, captain of this Lawyer team. Montez gets the sign. He's going to fire. Upstairs once again. He misses up high and loads the bases. His second walk of the game. Montez on the year has walked 22 players, 45 strikeouts, comes into this championship game with a 1.69 ERA. And there you see the bases are loaded. McElwain at third, Jones at second, and Diaz as this one a little grounder to Peters. He muffs it, but he gets it, throws it in time for the out. So Frankie Montez avoids a big disaster in the top of the first inning as nobody scores, and they leave 3 on the bags.
Again, we talked about Darrell Peters, again, getting a start here today at Jacobs Field. And you have to give him credit on that play, Adam. He stayed with it. When you look at it, the guy goes with the pitch, and you can see here, comes up, hits the heel of the glove, but a nice stop also by the first baseman, number 11, Matt Kurtz. So we've been talking about the defense of John Marshall, but let's take a look at their hitting because they've done some damage here at Jacobs Field in the past couple years.
Oh, for John Marshall, they'll take a look at the lineup. It'll be Chris Tucker leading off, hitting .373, followed by Joel Minaya, the center fielder, who's hitting .346. In the third spot is the catcher, Eddie Blake. Hitting cleanup will be Pete Bircher. He's hitting .361 on the year, followed by Matt Kurtz and Alex Bonilla. Then rounding out the lineup will be Sean Mullins, James McCoy, and Darrell Peters. Peters comes into this game hitting .286 on the season.
And when you look at the defense of Lincoln West, it starts with the guy on the mound. Again, Dwayne Jones, big, strong right-hander. He's a power-type pitcher. We'll talk more about him later, but we've watched their team play. And again, Anthony Miranda, good speed, knows how to get after ball, gets a good jump, solid at the shortstop spot. Alberto Rodriguez, Michael Scarborough has been steady over at third. The key is, can they hold the defense together and give them big support? Now, we had a chance to hear from Tom Castleberry, their coach, about his starting pitcher today.
Our starting pitcher today is Dwayne Jones. He's a senior. He throws good fastball, location. He also has a curveball, and occasionally throw a knuckleball for his off-speed pitch. When he starts to get himself into trouble, he starts throwing across his body, and he starts missing the strike zone. And that's when we know that he's starting to tire.
And starting it off for John Marshall, will be Chris Tucker, hitting .373 on the year as he takes that first pitch for a strike. John Marshall coming into this game as a team, hitting .284 as a team. Very good as he lifts that one foul into the stands on the first base side.
Now, Adam, in the playoff game, John Marshall had Chris Tucker in the 3-hole. And you can see, looking at his lineup, he has loaded the top of his lineup. He knows how important it is to get off to a good start.
That one just missing as the pitcher Dwayne Jones, 1-1 on the season, 4.77 ERA. Curveball hit to the second baseman. That is McElwain. He'll pick it up easily and toss it over to Edgardo Diaz for the first out.
So again, they get off to a good start, just like the John Marshall Lawyers. Ground ball, clean, got down on it, good throw, nice job all the way around.
Well, I think we've talked about this before, Tim. Mistakes. Whoever makes the least amount, as this one is hit in the right center field, it's going to drop for a base hit. As Joel Manaya, hitting .346, hustles the second base easily. That is some speed on the base paths for Joel Manaya, the 10th grader, as he just hit that one into right center field and then really put on the afterburners, got it into the gap, and still, even with the good throw, had the speed and was in there for the double. And that brings up Eddie Blake, the catcher. Blake hitting .289 on the season. .349 on base percentage. That one just missing. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out here. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Both teams have threatened. Lincoln West had the bases loaded. Now John Marshall with a runner on third. This one is hit to the ground, and that gets through the legs of McElwain, and that's going to send Manaya home for the first score of the ball game for John Marshall as they go up 1-0.
Well, again, Adam, we talked about, also how it's going to impact the Lincoln West team because they haven't been here before. You're dealing with a new field. Now you see here he tries to get down and it goes right through. He didn't get the glove down. And again, made a nice play on the first ball, but this one let him get through.
And that brings up Pete Bircher to the plate as he lifts this one up into short right field, and that is the catch made by Sean McElwain as he comes up with the put out in the bottom of the first inning for the second out.
One of the things is, and when you look at their alignment here, it's got me baffled a little bit because if you look at their outfield, they got them shifted over to the left, and you got a power pitcher, and they're hitting everything to the right side. Especially early in the ball game, you have to think they're going to be swinging a little bit behind on Jones.
Well, that'll bring up Matt Kurtz, the first baseman, hitting .305, and you're right, there is a big gap between right field and center field. The center field is really shaded over towards left center field, and this one, once again, is lifted into right field. It'll be Nieves going in to make the catch. But the damage is done for John Marshall as they come up with 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left on base. We've played 1 inning of play here at Jacobs Field. John Marshall leads it 1-0.
Well, folks, while we're in between innings, we just want to bring you up to speed on a couple things that we're going to go over today. First of all, this is a very special day here at Jacobs Field, not just for the ones that have been here today to observe, but history. 10 years ago, Cleveland Indian Charities became a part of giving back to its community when it came to the Cleveland Municipal Schools, the girls softball and the boys baseball programs that were in deep trouble. And they came through and funded those programs. It was $100,000 each year, and they've been doing that now. This is its 10th year, and we go back and we look, and it's really amazing to see the impact that it has made upon the city of Cleveland municipal schools and given everybody the opportunity. Can you imagine the thrill of playing here, Adam?
Oh, it's an absolute thrill for these kids, and for these kids, this is the bragging rights for the city of Cleveland in baseball, and they get to play it here at a beautiful diamond here at Jacobs Field.
And later on, we're going to have a chance to talk to the executive director of the Cleveland Indian Charities to find out exactly. I'm sure this is just 1 ounce of what they've been doing in the community. Again, we think of Cleveland Indians, we think of baseball, but really it's their charitable donations that they get that join their mission in providing these kind of opportunities to Clevelanders all around our city.
And it's been a revival of sorts over the last 10 years. When you look at it, as you were saying, the baseball and softball programs were on death's door at one point in time, but through the help of the Cleveland Indians charities, it has begun to flourish as these teams get to culminate their season here at Jacobs Field. Well, as we get set for the top of the second inning, it'll be the bottom of the order for Lincoln West. Neese, Miranda, and Carbajal. Nick Neese is up. He is the DH, hitting .333 on the season, and that one is fouled away. And for Nick Neese, 7 RBIs on the season. Good third baseman, steady player, according to his coaches. Frankie Montez on the mound, got in trouble a little bit in the first inning, but got out of it with no runs. Breaking ball just missing.
In the first inning, Montez threw 20 pitches, 10 balls, 10 strikes.
And Coach Eric Fry said that if Frankie gets into trouble, he will not hesitate in pulling him out of the ball game as he goes up high again. And it looks like, Tim, as I'm looking at him, the mound, he's really got to start bending his back and really following through because a lot of his pitches are coming up high. And if he gets one into the wheelhouse, these kids from Lincoln West are going to take him downtown.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment, these kind of mounds. And the situation is the Lincoln West team is free swingers. They are helping him. But again, as you mentioned, he's going to have to bring the ball down, and eventually he's going to have to make that adjustment. I think he will.
3-2 count. Montez fires. Swing and a miss. He gets him striking out.
You know, during the year, Adam, 37 innings, 45 strikeouts. You know, we talk about the control, but he does have that power to rack up the strikeouts as well.
Like I said earlier, comes in with a 5-4 record, pretty deceiving record, but he has a 1.69 ERA as he gets Neese swinging for the first strikeout of the game. And as you said, that is his 46th strikeout of the season. At the plate, Anthony Miranda fouls that one away into the stands. And for Miranda, 5 RBIs on the year, .360 average, the junior. Moises Alou, his favorite pro baseball player. Kid's got some good speed, and coach says he's the most improved player on the team. 1-0, John Marshall with the lead over Lincoln West. Marshall scored 1 in the bottom of the first inning. Montez delivers, and that one was close on the inside for a close shave. Brings the count to 1-1. Montez on the season giving up 9 earned runs. That time, it's a little oops hit. Montez covers nicely for the second out of the inning.
You know what? One of the things is, we've seen this kid so much, Adam. If you look here, now here's a curveball, and give the batter credit. He went with the pitch. But on the crack of the bat, Montez immediately knew the ball was to the right, gets over and covers the bat. He did a nice job. Anytime you get a guy that's always starting to get tall and lanky, it seems like it's tougher for them to make those adjustments on those big mounds.
Stephen Carbajal is now the batter for Lincoln West. That one just missing on the inside part of the plate. He comes into this game with a .308 average. Carbajal, a 5'11", 135-pound sophomore. The number 1 catcher on this Lincoln West Wolverine team. That one is fouled back. And as you said, Tim, earlier, Lincoln West is free swinging on Frankie Montez. And they're just missing by inches. Right now we've got a swirling wind here at Jacobs Field, and I don't know how much that is going to play into today's championship game. Once again, he fouls another one back. At least, Tim, this year, we've got roughly 68 degrees as you see the flag waving off the center field scoreboard from center field to left. A stiff breeze here in downtown Cleveland. That one, third straight pitch, fouled off. He is battling Frankie Montez.
You know, I think when you look at this season, Adam, and you talk about the complete season, I think this was very tough on the participants and the coaches. I mean, look at the amount of rain that we've had in Cleveland, how many rainouts they've gone through. You know, you see teams come in here, you know, with 11 games that they were able to get in, you know, maybe 4 or 5 more with the independent games.
This one popped up to left field. Mullins gets a beat on it, and he makes the third out of the inning. You're absolutely right, Tim. When you look at it, all the rain, we never got more than maybe 2, maximum 3 days dry weather in between, and it takes a lot for those fields to get dried and to be playable.
And a lot better inning, that inning for Montez. As you can see, he's starting to relax now, get in the groove, throw some strikes. One of the concerns, I think, when you mention, Adam, you talk about the weather and that, you know, being a high school coach years ago, I understand how it's like 2:30 after school, okay, coach, are we playing? No, the fields aren't ready. You know, and it's so disappointing.
Right.
But for these coaches to keep their teams focused, to keep teaching the game, I mean, you have to give credit to the coaches in the Cleveland Municipal Schools that took the time. You know, a lot of times people think it's, you know, well, he's a baseball coach, but they really aren't. You know,
They're the groundskeeper.
Yeah, you're groundskeeper, you're the social worker, you know, you might be the father idol, you know, the one trying to point him in the right direction, do the right thing. Sometimes it's the disciplinarian, you know, other times it's someone that's an ear there to listen to. So it's a real tough job when you're dealing with high school students, especially sometimes, you know, you hear the phrase student athlete, and sometimes they get it mixed up. They think it's athlete student, you know, and it's these kind of coaches that kind of keep that in perspective for them.
Well, you know, you look at it for this weekend here at Jacobs Field, you've got the Senate Championship, and then really looking for this weekend for the Senate Athletic League down in Columbus, the state track and field meets. You look at on the boys' side, Glenville in Division I, Rhodes in Division II. Then on the ladies' side, you have Collinwood that is a threat to bring home a state title. You know, and these teams from the Senate Athletic League. This time, Alex Bonilla lifts this one foul down the right field line, and that goes foul into the stands. And, you know, just imagine all those folks down in Columbus watching probably the best runner in the state of Ohio from the city of Cleveland, and Ted Ginn out of Glenville High School.
Yeah, you hear all the accomplishments of the schools, and later on we'll take a look at all the champions, but so many memories have come out of 2004.
Alex Bonilla takes that one for a ball. Bonilla coming into this game hitting .324 on the season, 9 RBIs. He has walked 5 times, scored 12 runs, 16 Ks on the season. That one he fouls off once again. The count goes to 1-2. And as we said for John Marshall, .284 average, but they have a slugging percentage of .361. 1-2 pitch from Dwayne Jones. Just missing. As Stephen Carbajal tried to spot the best pitch behind the plate.
Now in the first inning, Jones threw 3 balls and 8 strikes, only 11 pitches. And again, that's important when you're talking about, you know, these type of pitchers. How many pitches will they go? How many innings can they give? If they stay in the short counts, you're going to have a tendency to have them around a lot longer.
All that time, Bonilla walks, and he is on first base. That is the first walk given up by Dwayne Jones. And that'll bring up Sean Mullins. Mullins comes into this game hitting .254 on the year. The junior, 6'2", 150 pounds. His nickname, Muffins, because he came in as a 97-pound freshman. Stolen base by Bonilla, easily into second base.
He got a great jump on this pitch here, Adam, and Jones is definitely going to have to keep him close because Marshall's the type they're going to put pressure on the defense, and you can see that he's almost more than 3/4 of the way there by the time Carbajal gets the throw off.
59th stolen base by John Marshall this season. Breaking ball got him swinging. Oh, did he pull the string on that pitch? 0-2 the count to Sean Mullins. Runner at second. John Marshall leads it 1-0. That one upstairs. Coach says he can look awful on one swing, but then be deadly on the next pitch. Oh, he got him swinging on the check swing.
You could tell he was the curveball definitely gave him trouble. Again, having a hard time keeping the hands back, staying back, making that adjustment. See, he's already stepped. It's way out in front.
That was a quick pull of the finger there by the umpire to call the strike. Looks like he held back on that one. One out in the inning, and that'll bring up James McCoy, the right fielder, hitting 189 on the season. Runner at second base. One out. John Marshall leads it 1-0 here at Jacobs Field for the 2004 Senate Baseball Championship. Swang late on that pitch. McCoy has really come on strong at the end of the year and really established himself as the right fielder for this ball club for John Marshall. That one low and away for a ball. 2-1 to count with one out. Line score so far for John Marshall, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. For Lincoln West, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 error. The pitch fouled back.
I think the longer this game stays in this kind of position, the better that Lincoln West has the opportunity to come back. Now, John Marshall has a lot of great pitching and depth in pitching, but anytime you watch the Lincoln West team this year, they're streaky, and they've been swinging hot bats. So
Breaking ball gets him looking. He sits down for the strikeout. That is the second strikeout of the inning and the second strikeout of the game for Dwayne Jones. As that breaking ball really working this afternoon. And that brings up number 7, Darrell Peters, the left-hander. Peters, the second baseman, hitting .286 on the season.
has good speed, this kid right here.
Runner on second base, the pitch. Up high and away. 2-0 the count. So it seems like Dwayne Jones has had to battle back after he gets behind in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Brings that one down the pipe for a strike. Runner on second is Bonilla, and really hasn't been a threat to steal. Count runs to 3-1. Dwayne Jones coming into this game with a 4.77 ERA. Now the count runs to 3-2. Runner will be going. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And he gets him looking on a strikeout. And Darrell Peters could not believe his eyes on that one. After giving up an initial walk and a stolen base, Dwayne Jones retires the next 3 straight. And we've played 2, 1-0. John Marshall leads it over Lincoln West here at Jacobs Field.
Well, Adam, we had mentioned earlier about Cleveland Indian Charities and the things that they do. And momentarily we will be chatting with the executive director of Cleveland Indian Charities, Melissa Zapanta. Melissa, welcome.
Thanks, Tim.
I want to make sure they have your mic up and ready. And, you know, every year we come back to this spot, and it just seems like it gets better and better.
Well, this is also a nice year because we've got a better view with a brand new scoreboard.
Oh, absolutely.
So hopefully everybody in the ballpark today is enjoying that.
Well, I know one thing, we definitely are, I'll tell you.
And the weather was better this year than last year. Last year was cold. I think maybe 50 degrees last year.
It's not cold today?
You get used to it. Better than last year.
This is, I mean, we go back, I was telling Adam about, it seemed like 3 years ago we were 90, now it was 50, and now it seems nice cool breeze. The field looks great. The kids seem to be having a great time. But obviously, Cleveland Indian Charities, it's not just about the Cleveland Municipal Schools. They're a big part of it. There's a lot of things that you guys do, and I'm hoping you can stick around this inning as we talk about them. Obviously, it doesn't happen just with you alone. There's a lot of people behind the scenes we definitely want to talk about.
Sure, be glad to.
Well, as we get ready for the top of the third inning, Lincoln West will send up the top of the lineup, Nieves, McElwain, and Rodriguez. Nieves comes up, grounded out his first time up as he takes a ball on the first pitch. 1-0 John Marshall with the lead. Nieves grounded out his first time out as Frankie Montez fires the pitch. In for a strike, evens the count at 1-1. Outfield for John Marshall playing pretty much straight away. Infield normal depth. Montez fires. Ground ball to the shortstop. And Tucker fires over to first base for the first out of the inning. That's the second time he has grounded out to Tucker in this game.
And you can see, you talk about aggressive play. Now look at this defensively. Sets, strong throw, good target. You can see why the coaches voted him as the league's most valuable player.
That'll bring up Sean McElwain as he takes that one for a strike. McElwain walked his first time and then was stranded over at third base. 0-1 pitch, Montez fires up high. And lately, everything that Lincoln West has been hitting, they've been pounding it into the ground because the pitches are coming up high. Montez getting the sign from Blake. He'll fire. Swing and a miss. Good pitch there as he put a little extra oomph on that one.
I'm starting to get that feeling, Adam, that Frankie Montez is starting to settle in, become comfortable.
That one in front of the plate evens the count at 2-2. He's really starting to settle down. He had a shaky first inning where he loaded up the bases, but they were able to get away with not giving up a run. And now he's starting to find his groove. 2-2 count. Base hit up the middle. McElwain gets on base for the second time. And anything that's been hit by Lincoln West has been up the middle. Little breaking ball, waited on it, and got through the outstretched arms of Chris Tucker. Alberto Rodriguez popped up to the shortstop his first time up. As Montez goes back over to first base to Matt Kurtz.
You know, Melissa, we talk about, you watch them here with baseball, but when you see and you hear about kids' National Honor Society, merit roll, going to college, kind of gives you a little bit of a good feeling that, hey, we're doing more than just baseball.
It definitely is, and all athletes at any kind of level need to be well-rounded, but especially at the high school level. It is more than just athletics, but athletics is a good learning ground for so many disciplines in life, for teaching them good life skills. So anytime you can combine good on-field performance with good academic performance, I think you've got a well-rounded individual.
And really, the people behind the scenes, and we're going to talk to them as soon as we get our 3 outs here. I mean, we have to say a special thanks to them. I mean, they really are the key to your whole organization.
There's a lot of people in the organization as a whole, and it does take a lot of coordination with a lot of people behind the scenes to really make everything happen, for us to be able to do things like this across all facets of the organization, all departments, all levels.
3-1 count to Alberto Rodriguez. And really, it is a great honor that the Indians opened the doors for these young kids to play their championship game, as that one is fouled behind home plate.
I think we've been hosting this championship for almost as long as the ballpark has been open, and it's been a wonderful experience and opportunity, and it's a no-brainer every year, really, to host this game here.
Yeah, we were talking about it 10 years. It was back in 1995 where John Marshall faced South High School, and it was the first time it took place.
Swing and a miss. The throw down to second, not in time on the strikeout, and the stolen base by McElwain.
A lot of memories, I'm sure a lot of kids that are watching this today say, I remember when I was there and what it meant to them. But obviously, you also have to feel good about the parental support, the students, everybody in the community coming behind this kind of idea.
Definitely, and it's nice to see the school spirit go on, and the kids and their classes come out and support their classmates for this. It has been a wonderful 10 years of hosting games here, not only at the major league level, a lot of memories, but as you said, Tim, back to the first year in '95 hosting the Senate Championship here, there have been a lot of great memories. It's hard to believe that those kids that played here 10 years ago are well on their way to being out of high school for a long time.
Please, let's not remind me on that aspect of it.
They're the only ones getting older.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I like your thinking there.
I'm glad you took care of that.
0-2 the count to the batter, Dwayne Jones, and the runner at second base. As Montez fires, breaking ball, and that's going to get by. Could bring the score home. The throw to the plate. Not in time, as Eddie Blake could not hang on. And the crowd from Lincoln West really making some noise as Lincoln West ties up this game at 1 apiece.
Well, here's the one question. You see the shortstops keeping them close, and I'm sure that's what probably hurt him a little bit, and then he threw across his body. If he squares up and makes the strong throw, he probably has him. But again, there was one time that the shortstop covered, not thinking they would pull it, and they did.
Ball gets away, a favorable bounce. Blake has it back, but could not get it to throw to third as Dwayne Jones goes to third on the wild pitch. And as we're talking about the Indians Charities Group, when you look at it, it's just not the Senate Athletic League that gets a helping hand as well.
It's certainly not. I mean, our mission as a whole for Cleveland Indians Charities is to improve and provide opportunities for youth in the greater Cleveland area, primarily in the inner city, and foster the love of the game of baseball and softball and give as many kids as we can the opportunity to learn that game, to play it, and to enjoy it at no cost to them. And we're impacting, besides the kids here today, on average a year, we're impacting about 10,000 kids.
And that's a lot. I mean, and that really, we've talked about how this facility has revived baseball in the city of Cleveland, and it had that trickle-down effect going to the youth of the city of Cleveland and the different leagues.
Right, and again, you think back to those kids who were here 10 years ago. Those are all, hopefully productive adults right now out there, and we can do some really good things with creating fans at the youth level.
This one is popped up third base side and foul, and I think they're going to call it a no pitch because a couple of players from John Marshall heading down to the bullpen to warm up. It'll be Eugene Jerko warming up in the bullpen for John Marshall. And as we've talked about it, Tim, that Coach Fry is not going to be hesitant in pulling Montez out of the ball game.
Well, I think it's a concern because it seemed like when the guy got the hit, Frank lost a little bit of his composure, and now he's looking for him to settle down and take control here.
Edgardo Diaz walked his first time out with new life. The pitch, 2-2 count. Swing and a miss. Got him on a high fastball.
Oh, they gave us the wrong count, Adam.
No, now it's 2-2 because on the previous foul ball,
there must have been time called.
There was time called. So now it's a 2-2 count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1-1 tie here. Top of the third inning. 2004 Senate Championship here at Jacobs Field. Montez fires. Inside, missing. Runs the count to 3-2. And he's still bringing it. Montez with 1 strikeout in the game. Also 1 walk. He's got a runner on third. That's Dwayne Jones. Missing. And Montez was walking off, thought he got the corner.
That's a no-no when you're a pitcher.
Second walk given up by Montez in this game, and that puts the runners on the corners. And that brings up Michael Scarborough, who grounded out in the first inning. Lincoln West, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error. John Marshall, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. 2 outs here, top of the 3rd inning. And gets it on the outside part of the plate for a strike. Montez finding himself in a bit of trouble. Eugene Jerko working in the bullpen for John Marshall as he goes up high. That time evens the count at 1-1. Outfield playing pretty much straight away for John Marshall. Gets him swinging for a strike. Runs the count to 1-2. Big pitch now for Frankie Montez. He's hoping to get out of this inning with just giving up 1 run. 1-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Breaking ball. Scarborough staying with it and fighting off the pitch. This is a kid that really likes to go with the pitch wherever it is. Montez now working with a 1-2 count, runners at 1st and 3rd. Swing and a miss, and he gets out of trouble just giving up 1 run. So we've played 2.5 innings, and we are tied at 1 apiece.
Again, you take a look at this last play, and again, it was a fastball up and away. Not a lot of patience. Montez, a little fire right now. He's a little upset. He gave up the 1 run. But again, you got to bounce back, and I'm sure Eric Fry will bring him back. But more importantly, Melissa, Cleveland Indian Charities, we've talked about it. But really, when you're talking about giving over more than $4 million to youth organizations in Northeast Ohio since 1989, tell us about some of the groups that you guys basically work with.
Well, as I said earlier, Tim, we impact about 10,000 kids a year. In addition to the municipal school district baseball and softball programs donation that we make, we also provide an annual donation to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Cleveland. For operating support, we provide money to the Cleveland Baseball Federation, which you're very familiar with, that operates leagues for about 7,000 kids a year. We provide money to the City of Cleveland Recreation Department for a Rookie League program, and the list kind of goes on. But again, the idea is to create a love for this game and give kids an opportunity to play for free at every level.
You know, the last time Lincoln West was here, there was a young man named Juan Ramirez.
Right.
And if you can, I remember it was such a huge impact on him where he had the opportunity to participate in the 1999 National RBI Games in Orlando, Florida. And there was only 108 players selected in the country. That had to be something very...
He's kind of like our poster boy story for youth baseball and Cleveland Indians Charities, because he was a Rookie League participant, an RBI participant, and a product of the Cleveland Public Schools baseball program. So he really hit home for all the programs that we offered our support for, and he did really well and had some great opportunities.
Chris Tucker flies this one to the right fielder, and Antonio Nieves comes up with the catch for the out.
You know, Melissa, one of the things that makes me so proud when I think of Cleveland Indian Charities is, and again, as you mentioned, because of the city and the schools and the whole, is in 1992, you guys committed to putting 2 new baseball programs in the city of Cleveland. Well, tell us a little bit about those.
Right, back in the early 90s, we started developing these youth baseball programs, one with the city of Cleveland called Rookie League, which gives boys and girls a chance to learn the game, learn the fundamentals of every position off of a pitching machine. That program was called Rookie League. And now at more than 20 plus rec centers, we've got over 2,000 kids every summer, ages 7 to 12, playing Rookie League, and again, learning the game of baseball, learning all the good things like sportsmanship and discipline that come with the game. And then from that program, they can go on to a program called RBI, Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities, which is named in Cleveland after Larry Doby, who is well-known in this area and well-known in Major League Baseball. But that's for kids, for boys and girls, a baseball and softball program, ages 13 through 18, and that's administered through a partnership with the United Black Fund of Cleveland.
And every year, you know, Adam, when we do the Rookie League, it's so amazing that you watch these kids play. You don't know what can happen, but it seems like if anything can happen, it always happens in that event.
That is one of the most fun events because these little kids, you know, you put them on this field, and this field just has to look just gargantuan to them. And it, you know, as a little kid, it's like, hey, I got to play here, and really they have to give a lot of thanks to Cleveland Indians Charities for that opportunity.
That's definitely one of my favorite days of the year, and I say that every year in August, and I promise you by then it's usually the hottest day of the year as well. But you're right, that the smiles on their faces and the look in their eyes for these kids from the city, I mean, this is something they can look forward to all year, and they'll remember the rest of their lives. It's a great opportunity.
And once again, it's a way the organization, the team, the Cleveland Indians gives back to the community.
Right. You know, we do as much as we can. The Cleveland community has been a great support to us as an organization, and it only makes a lot of sense to give a lot back in return.
When we talk about giving back, obviously Cleveland Indian Charities definitely has shown its worthiness to be a part of. Someone sitting out there saying, you know what, I didn't realize this, you know, my company, maybe me, I want to be a part of helping, whether it's through sponsorship dollars or volunteer services. How can they help be a part of your mission?
There's a lot of different things that we have going on, and the money that we donate to organizations like the school district doesn't just fall out of thin air. It does come from corporate support, it comes from the fan support, it comes from a lot of different resources. The best way to find out about how we raise our money through different events is to go to our website at indians.com. There's a community banner that you can click on. It'll explain all about the good things we're doing and how we raise money and how the fans out there or the corporate community can get involved with programs like this.
And it doesn't have to be, maybe someone sits back, well, I don't have thousands of dollars, you know, maybe I can give $100. You know, right now, every little bit helps.
Every little bit does help, and we have programs like a tour program where you can buy a ticket for $4.50 for a kid or a senior, and that $4.50 is going to go to Cleveland Indians Charities. And then we have programs like a golf outing where, you know, it's golf for an individual for $500 or a corporate team for $3,500, but there's something at every level for everybody to contribute to this cause.
Well, Melissa, we want to thank you so much for coming by and spending this time with us. Again, if we can close just by telling them again about the website so that they can be a part of your mission.
Sure, the website address is www.indians.com. There's a community banner that you can click on. It'll talk about our community relations programs, our charity programs. Or phone number if you want to talk to somebody directly and find out what's going on is 216-420-4400. And Tim, we appreciate the opportunity to come out today and talk to you guys.
Well, thanks again, and thanks for the great weather. Okay.
A little breezy, but it'll do. It'll do.
I'll take it.
Right now, John Marshall with runners at first and third. Blake is over at third, and Pete Bircher is on the air at first, and up to the plate is Matt Kurtz. Still tied at 1. Both of these teams have gotten into trouble as the runner goes to throw down the second, and they will cut it off early. So we have runners at second and third for Matt Kurtz. Kurtz is the heir apparent from Blake at the catcher's position. Ground ball to the second baseman. McElwain gets the out. And a big bullet is dodged by Lincoln West. As 3 full innings in the books, John Marshall and Lincoln West still tied at 1.
Well, again, Melissa Zaponte stopped by and talked about Cleveland Indian Charities. And folks, again, it is those corporate sponsors, the people that are part of the city of Cleveland's mission that join Cleveland Indian Charities. Really, you do make a difference. And you see it today as one program, but there's so much more. There's so many people that are impacted. Please check on the Cleveland Indians website. Again, the community banner, as she mentioned, or give them a call at 420-4300. And Adam, that was one inning that John Marshall had an opportunity and did not come through. We saw Lincoln West in the first inning, this inning here, and you have to hang it to Lincoln West. They've hung in there with them.
Well, they did. Both teams had runners get to third base in the scoring position and not able to put across a run. It'll be interesting to see what happens in this 4th inning with Frankie Montez if he gets into trouble. Eugene Jerkel was in the bullpen working out. He's back in the bench area, so he is going to be ready if needed be to be called on in this game. So Montez has really gotten away with some rough innings. As you look at it for Lincoln West, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors. For John Marshall, 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. And really those errors for Lincoln West in that last inning were not costly errors in that they did not give up the runs that John Marshall was hoping to get in this tight Senate Championship game for 2004. As you see some of the folks here in attendance at Jacobs Field here, representing Lincoln West and John Marshall High School. As we get set, it will be Nice, Miranda, and Carbajal, the bottom 3 of the lineup for Lincoln West here in the top of the 4th inning. Nice, his first time up, struck out. Montez will fire. Breaking ball got him swinging.
Well, we said before the game the key was going to be walks and hitting. And both teams have seemed to give up their share of walks. Nobody's really dominated with the bats. Only 5 hits so far. And we're going to have a special guest that's joining us. Throughout the first pitch, the former supervisor of interscholastic athletics, Bill Reppa. Bill, welcome.
Thanks, Tim. Nice to be here.
Breaking ball hit into center field, and Joel Manaya got a great break on it to make the catch.
Seems like, Adam, both teams have really settled down now, become comfortable. They're playing good defense. Bill, you know, when you look at this, and you've been a part of the Cleveland Municipal Schools all your life, now retired, I'm sure you're enjoying the golf game.
Not up here because it's rained almost every day since we come back from Florida.
But obviously you have to have a special feeling when you see something like this going on.
Absolutely. I'm just so pleased that the Cleveland Indians allow these kids to play this game here at Jacobs Field, because this is a thrill for those young men.
Anthony Miranda up to the plate for Lincoln West. Grounded out his first time up. Hits this one. That's going to drop for a base hit in left field. So he picks up his first hit of the game as he came into this game with a .360 average.
You know, Bill, obviously in your position, you've probably seen a lot of coaches on the high school scene that have come through, many that you've had to recommend for hiring. So you know some of the qualities that you look for in coaches. Share some of your thoughts on that.
I always ask them a couple of questions when I'd hire a coach. And one of them may sound strange, but I said, would you like my job? And if they hedged a little bit, I said, the first thing I told the guy that asked me that, I said, that's right, I want to get the best job in the city and it's yours. And then I tell them, good luck, because you're going to have to do a good job to take it away from me. But I enjoyed it. Leonard worked in our office for a few years before I retired, and he's been there ever since, 18 years now.
And he sure made an impact on high school athletics, not just in the Cleveland area, but throughout the whole state of Ohio. And when they look back on your career as well as him, you've had a great impact on many kids in the Cleveland Municipal Schools. Some of them grown up today, doctors, very successful stories. I'm sure there's many that go through your mind.
Oh, yes. The nice thing about these kinds of position is when you work with young people, you stay young. And I don't feel much older than when I left here 20 years ago.
Well, I saw the arm. The arm looked pretty good on the toss.
Tim, that's the first time I've thrown overhand in 25 years. I had a problem. I used to throw batting practice every high school, sandlot, college, and the pros. Oh, in fact, I threw for the Indians for 3 years, and I just threw my arm out. And Dr. Bergfeld did a nice job on me. He gave me some cortisone shots, and I haven't thrown overhand since, and I've had no problems since. So tomorrow I'll have my arm in a sling. But it's really a great tribute to these kids to have the opportunity to play, and I think the Indians should be thanked as often as can for letting these kids play in this park. Beautiful.
Yeah, their Cleveland Indian Charities director just came by and we talked about all the people on their mission to help make this possible. But obviously, Bill, being an administrator of athletics, it really takes the whole community. When you talk about not just the coach, the student athlete, the teacher, but also the parent and their role. Talk a little bit about that.
What I'd like to say is when I was still here, we were the only major urban area in the United States that had night activities. And if anybody wants to know how difficult that was when you see other school systems doing, unfortunately, what Cleveland's doing now, you don't give the parents an opportunity to see their kids play. And the cooperation with the Cleveland Police Department and the City Hall and all the people that did such a great job. I was fortunate. I had a lot of policemen that I had in school that volunteered to help us at night games. And that's something that's lacking in athletics today that I'm sorry to see go.
Well, Tim, it looks like Lincoln West is starting to play small ball, bunting their way on. They've got the bases loaded, and Montez just hit Sean McElwain to bring in the go-ahead run for the Wolverines as Anthony Miranda will score. McElwain gets hit by the pitch, and everybody moves one base, and now Lincoln West has taken the lead at 2-1, and that is going to be it for Frankie Montez, because before that, Coach Fry was talking to Montez, and this is his second trip out, I believe, in this inning, so I would venture to guess he is through for the afternoon. And with the pitching change, we'll take a break as Lincoln West leads it over John Marshall 2-1. You're watching the 2004 Senate Baseball Championships from Jacobs Field on CLV TV 35.
This kid looks like a better pitcher than the one that's starting.
Throws a lot of junk. Well, Adam, you can see that Eric Fry brought in Eugene Jerko. We saw him a year ago. And again, let's go over to the skipper of John Marshall on his comments about his second pitcher that he's bringing in here today.
Our relief pitcher is Eugene Jerko, 3-year varsity starting pitcher. Throws a fastball, slider, changeup. He's got very good control and a good fastball.
That one key word, Adam, control.
And when you look at it for Jerko, the suburban coaches think, what, is this kid a fifth-year senior? He has been around this program for so long and has been such a force for this program that the coaches just wonder, when is this kid ever going to graduate? But Jerko is really a great relief pitcher for John Marshall to come in. When you look at it, you go Montez, Jerko, and then Blake as your 1-2-3 combination for pitchers, but he's got a big jam to get out of. Bases are loaded, brings in the fastball, 4-ball. For Lincoln West, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors in that last inning. In this inning that they're playing, they are really going small ball. A couple of bunts have moved players over. They have been able to use that to their advantage, and now they can really blow this game wide open as Jerko comes in, swing and a miss. On the pitch to Alberto Rodriguez, who popped out his first time up. Jerko on the season, a 6.14 ERA, 9 strikeouts, 21 walks.
You know, the one thing on Rodriguez is he's anxious right now. And you look when he took that swing, he pulled his head right away. When you see that head move like that, he's not seeing the baseball.
Outfield straight away, going up top and high. 3 balls and 1 strike on the count to Alberto Rodriguez. This one nubbed right into the front. They got to get him out at home, and they do on the force-out. Good pickup there by Jerko.
A big out. Any other place he hits the ball, they probably score the run. But right now, Tom Castleberry says, this is what I want. I want Dwayne Jones up in a key spot. He's our go-to guy. Well, here it is. You see the nice play where he flips it to Eddie Blake. And now they've got the guy they want up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And during the year, Dwayne Jones, 9 RBIs.
He's got 2 singles in this game, 2 singles, and he's got the bases loaded with Rodriguez, McElwain, and Nieves on the bases. This one is a line shot. That's going to go deep in the left center field. That's going to clear them all. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. Here comes the third. As Jones heads to third, and he is caught in a rundown. He gets tagged out at second base, but the big key is he gets a double, and it's a bases loaded, clearing double that makes the score 5-1 for Lincoln West.
There's some excitement in the house. They talk about Jacobs Field. It seems like it brings the best out of you. You saw right there, Dwayne Jones gets a high fastball right in the gap. And again, they're going to have to track it down as Tom Castleberry will call them all in. And actually, when he stopped to create the rundown at him, what he did is he gave time for the other runner to cross the plate before the tag.
And that was Alberto Rodriguez, so he was able to get 3 runs pushed aboard, and it was a big 4-run 4th inning for Lincoln West as they now have a 5-1 lead. And I was talking to Coach Fry before the game, and he says, really, we don't have the kids to, if we get down by this kind of number, that we won't have the we don't have the bats to really get back into a game like this. That is why you were saying that he stacked the lineup up top with his best hitters to try to get out on top early. Right now, they find themselves down in a big hole, 5-1.
Now, one thing we have to keep in mind, Adam, is he's pitching on 3 days rest. He's already thrown 49 pitches, and we're in the bottom of the fourth. That's going to play a key role. Now, they still have another arm they can go to, but right now, you have to give your hat off to Castleberry, because when he went to small ball, he changed the whole game.
He did. You got a couple of guys get on base. You had a couple of bunts that loaded up the bases, and then you got the big hit, and that just opened the gap up for Lincoln West. And as you said, this the flow of the game really changed when Lincoln West started playing small ball and bunted their way around the bases.
Well, Bill, you sit down, we get a little excitement.
That's what this game is all about. Put the ball in play and see what they do with it.
Well, up for John Marshall in this bottom half of the fourth inning will be Bonilla, Mullins, and McCoy. Bonilla walked and was left stranded at second base, the designated hitter, as Lincoln West leads it 5-1 as Jones goes low and away for the ball.
You know, just one closing thought, Bill. Obviously, pretty loaded question, but you've had a great career with the Cleveland Municipal Schools. You look back, very many fond memories. But does anything really stick out that you walk away with a lot of pride?
Obviously, Tim, when you were in the system as long as I was, you meet a lot of nice people. And strange as it may seem, the two of the best years I had out of my over 30 years in Cleveland was the 2 years at Collinwood during the riots. I had a great time. Those kids were absolutely fantastic. All they wanted was 2 or 3 extra days of vacation. That's when they decided to create a problem. And we knew it was coming. They just wanted an extra long vacation. But I loved them. They were great, and I worked with some really fine people at every stage of my career.
Well, I want to thank you, Bill, for coming by. Lenny Jackson, I thought it was a great idea having you come out and throw the first pitch. And really, our special thanks to you for all those years of great service that you did with the Cleveland Municipal Schools.
My thanks to you, and I wish them all the best.
Okay. Bill Repa, the former supervisor interscholastic athletics, stopping by. And Adam, when you talk about is there any more arms in the house, the Lincoln West Wolverine coach will have to make a decision here soon.
Well, that time Alex Bonilla put a charge in that last hit as he hit it to right field, got it all the way to the fence, and was able to round it all the way to third base for the triple to start off the top of the fourth inning. And John Marshall quickly needing to get some runs in. They have a man in scoring position right away. Coming up to the plate will be Sean Mullins, hitting .254. He struck out his last time up, and he's hoping to bring a run across to cut down this 5-1 lead for Lincoln West. Jones's pitch goes in for a strike. Lincoln West has scored 4 in the fourth, 1 in the third for this 5-1 lead. John Marshall scored 1 in the first, and that has been it. That curveball missing. 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for Lincoln West. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors for John Marshall. This one is hit well into left field, but Barreto is there to make the catch, and that's going to easily score the runner as Bonilla cuts the lead down to 5-2 on the sac fly. And the RBI goes to Mullins, and that cuts the lead to 5-2. And that will bring up James McCoy, who struck out looking his last time up.
We also want to remind everybody at the top of this inning, we're going to be seeing the league most valuable players in the boys baseball and the girls softball program. So we'll take a look at them at the top of this inning.
McCoy has really come on strong at the end of the season for John Marshall. And he's really established himself as the team's right fielder. Also played on the football team. That went in for a strike. 1-1 to count. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Lincoln West on top. That one missing again. Now you got to wonder, Tim, you were talking about it. Is fatigue setting in on Jones? He is coming in and pitching on 3 days rest. Bouncer up the middle. Nice play by Rodriguez. Off his knees, not in time. So just like that, John Marshall has another player on base.
Well, I think at this point, you know, you're looking at him. Obviously, he's not fooling anybody at this point. But again, if Lincoln West plays defense, now that was a pretty good play. Most guys wouldn't even get to the ball. Rodriguez did a nice job just to get to the ball here.
That brings up Darrell Peters up to the plate. Peters struck out his last time up. Runner at first, James McCoy. This is a kid that can get out of the box very quickly. Peters, they nickname him Moonlight Graham because he looks like the character in the movie Field of Dreams. That time a base hit down the first base line. That'll advance the runner over to third, and John Marshall just like that with runners at first and third. And the folks here from the Lawyers School are making a little bit of noise here at Jacobs Field.
And I think Jones has kind of signaled over to the bench here that he's running out a little bit of juice. But again, you talk about the bottom of the order has been able to come through here, Adam, for him.
Well, the last time up for the bottom of the order, they went down swinging and striking out. Now they come up with a triple, a sacrifice fly, a single, and a single. And that brings up and brings out the coach from Lincoln West, Tom Castleberry, out to talk to his pitcher, Dwayne Jones. And it looks like we are going to have a pitching change for Lincoln West. And it will be McElwain will be the pitcher. They will bring Nieves over to second base. Then they will move Miranda to right field. And they'll move Jones into center field. Got that?
It looks good to me. I mean, while we have a break here, let's take a look at the most valuable players. And again, you talk about two outstanding individuals of the Cleveland Municipal Schools, not just on the athletic field. I mean, some of the tributes that they did in their career with the Cleveland Municipal Schools is just beyond belief. You're looking at Betsy Aviles. They're both from John Marshall. She's the girls' softball league most valuable player. And Chris Tucker, which we're watching here today, the shortstop. Betsy Aviles, in her 3 years, is 41-0 as a pitcher in the Senate. And then you're talking about an ERA of .69. And Chris Tucker, you've seen him here today. He's with the National Honor Society. The staff at John Marshall symbolized him as Man of the Year. He's also MVP of the swim team, quarterback of the football team. And these two individuals have really made the Cleveland Municipal Schools someone that it can really be proud of as the league's most valuable players for 2004.
Well, there you see Sean McElwain coming in to pitch for the Lincoln West Wolverines. And I don't know if you can really get a good look, but earlier when they were warming up, this kid, tricolor hair. He's got, I think, pink, blue, or maybe red and blue. He's got the school colors on his head.
Well, there you go, school spirit. Well, he comes in a tough spot. 1 out, first and third. His team's up by 3, but the tying run does come to the plate here, Adam.
And coming up to the plate now, top of the order, Chris Tucker. He popped up his last time. He's 0 for 2 in this game. As McElwain fakes over to third. Runners at first and third. Peters is at first. McCoy is over at third. McElwain fires in for a strike. That's what you want to do on your first pitch when you're up on the mound.
The opportunity to pick up a key run. He's been their spark plug all year.
Line shot, just foul. Boy, he's got to straighten that out a little bit, and that could possibly bring this to a 5-4 game. We've had some deep hits in this ball game here at Jacobs Field. Now for Lincoln West, setting up defensively pretty much straight away. As we said, Miranda is in right field. Nieves is over at second. Rodriguez still at short. And Dwayne Jones is now playing the outfield. As this one getting by the pitcher, and 9. They get him in time, and the run scores. Once again, John Marshall cuts the lead to 5-3.
Well, you take a look at it here. Again, he jams them. And to give him credit, McElwain stayed with it. And he tosses it over to the first baseman, Edgardo Diaz. So now with 2 outs,
Joel Manaya hits this one in the foul ground, and Edgardo Diaz just lost it. And I think it may have been the background of Jacobs Field that he may have lost the ball. Because there sure ain't no sun out there.
you got that right.
As the clouds are overhead here at Jacobs Field. We did start off under sunny skies. As you see the pop-up, he just got up underneath it and then just lost the ball.
Yeah, if you noticed, he kind of glided to the ball. Instead of getting over into the area, he kind of just glided to it instead. And that usually will get you in trouble on those pop-ups. You have to hustle to get over to that position, and then you're able to make those adjustments where he just kind of glided with the ball.
He wasn't too happy with himself. He thought he should have gotten that one. But that gives new life. Ball gets away from the catcher. Runner goes over to third. Coach Fry says, hold up.
And that's the first ball we've really seen get by the catcher. Carbajal, he's done a nice job of keeping it in front of him.
So the runner, Darrell Peters, over at third base. 5-3. John Marshall has scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th inning. The pitch. In on the dirt once again, but a good block up front by Carbajal and keeping the ball in front of him. If that ball gets away, Peters is going to be going.
Absolutely, and he's got the speed. But this guy's a competitor, this pitcher, McElwain. You've watched him play second. He's also been tough at the plate.
Manaya hits this one, a bouncer up the middle, that'll score a run. He goes 2 for 3 in the game. He had a double his first time up and now singles and gets the RBI, and that cuts the Lincoln West lead to 5-4.
We haven't been calling it right all day, partner. We've been talking about everything, and we didn't think, Eric Fry told us they didn't have the firepower to come back, but they sure made an answer here in the 4th.
That's absolutely correct. 3 runs in the 4th inning. They've got 6 hits so far. They're down 5-4, and they have been able to do it with 2 outs in the inning. And that brings up to the plate the catcher, Eddie Blake. Eddie Blake, he singled and was stranded left on third base his last time up. He is due for a big hit. Runner at first is Joel Manaya. Eddie Blake reached on an error and a single. McElwain delivers low and in the ground. Looks like he's shortening up on his throws.
Well, you got to remember, he came right off the infield. He didn't have that warm-up time that Jerko had with John Marshall.
Runner goes. They got him in time at second base as Manaya is thrown out from a great play and throw by Stephen Carbajal.
Again, you can see here's the hit that we saw going to right field, puts him on base. And then on this pitch, comes up with a good follow-through, a nice tag, and a great job by Nieves at second base. Nice job, Antonio.
So for John Marshall, they score 3 runs in the 4th inning. They are down 5-4 here as we head towards the 5th inning in the 2004 Senate Baseball Championships here at Jacobs Field. Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells. Glad to have you along here for the 2004 Senate Baseball Championships.
And again, Adam, as we mentioned throughout today, all the good things that have happened with the Cleveland Municipal Schools, Again, at the top of the next inning, we're going to take a look at some of the city champions of the Cleveland Municipal Schools this year. We talk about Ted Ginn. Actually, he's probably right now down in Columbus, Ohio for the track meet.
Down in Columbus running. He'll be heading to Ohio State in the fall, and really he has some aspirations of trying to make the Olympic team for the Athens Games in Greece this summer. But Ted Ginn, one of the nation's best standouts, not only on the football field as well as the track meet, on the track as a hurdler, as a sprinter. And really, when you look at it for Glenville, this is a team that is, everybody watches this team around the country, the Glenville track team.
And Glenville made its mark also with football. He had a great season with the football team. Again, qualifying for the state playoffs.
And when they did, I actually watched that game when they played St. Ignatius. Glenville, a very quick team. They were much quicker than St. Ignatius. Just St. Ignatius has a little bit of that extra firepower that they were able to get by Glenville, but Glenville had a very, very good football team this year. Eugene Jerko back out on the mound for the 5th inning of play. It will be Edgardo Diaz, Scarborough, and Nice. The order for Lincoln West. They have a 5-4 lead. This one is ripped into right center field. That's going to go to the track. Diaz is going to head to second. He's going to try for third. The throw to the cutoff, not in time. They get him into third easily for a triple as he rips a rope into right center field.
Well, I'll tell you what, he got it all, didn't he?
Oh, he turned that one around.
All the way to the fence before number 13 can pick the ball up here, relay it in, and they still make it close to the plate, but he comes chugging into third with a 3-base hit and nobody out. And so Lincoln West is back knocking on the door again, Adam.
And that brings up Michael Scarborough up to the plate. He struck out his last time, grounded out his first time up, and right away Lincoln West has a runner in scoring position. Jerko out of the stretch, pitches that one outside. That is the 8th hit for Lincoln West in this game. 5 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. For John Marshall, 4 runs on 6 hits, no errors. 2 balls the count. Over to Scarborough. Outside, good scoop there by Eddie Blake, keeping it in front, because if that would have gotten away, Diaz possibly could score. So Jerko a little bit wild after giving up that initial triple to start off the 5th inning. Now he goes upstairs, and he walks him. 4 straight pitches he walked, and that brings up Nick Neese with runners at first and third. That is the 3rd walk given up by John Marshall pitching this afternoon, as John Marshall looking to capture a 3rd straight title. And we talked about it's hard enough winning 2. The job is even tougher trying to win 3. They find themselves down 5-4 as he goes upstairs for a ball. Runners at first and third for the Wolverines of Lincoln West. Neese struck out and flied out the DH. That one, as Jerko just trying to figure out where I need to throw that ball.
Well, they're going to wait him out. That's 6 in a row. They're going to make him throw strikes.
And that went in for a strike. 2-1 the count.
Well, Adam, we said walks would play a role, and it definitely has.
This one, pounded to third base. That'll score a run, and the throw gets away from the first baseman, Kurtz, and that'll advance the runners. Montez got the ball up high as this one was just pounded in the ground to third base. Montez fired up high, got away from the first baseman, Kurtz, as Diaz was able to score. And the runners advance to second and third as Neese gets on an error.
Now, this is, we've seen John Marshall here the last 2 years, and we are seeing today when they get people on base and they get pressure put on them, they're not making the smart play. It seems like they're panicking and they're not playing the solid defense. They're trying to rush throws. We've seen a couple of those throws done today by the John Marshall team. And, you know, Eric Fry is a real big, avid person that, listen, you play fundamentally. You don't give away things. And right now what's happened is with the walks and the bad plays with people on base has really hurt the John Marshall team.
Well, that's the first error of the game, but really it's been the small ball that has really affected John Marshall on the defensive side, as Jerko is going to come out of the ball game. And coming in, the third pitcher for John Marshall will be Darrell Peters. So Darrell Peters will be the pitcher. Peters comes into this game with a 2.21 ERA, has 1 save on the season, has pitched 12 2/3 innings, has given up 4 earned runs, 10 runs in all, 11 strikeouts, 7 walks. So Darrell Peters becomes the third pitcher for John Marshall in this ball game. So defensively for the Lawyers, Montez will be over at third, Tucker at shortstop. They will move Bircher over to second base, and Kurtz is over at first base. And up to the plate for Lincoln West will be Anthony Miranda. He singled and scored his last time up, grounded out to the pitcher the first time up. Miranda coming into this game hitting .360 on the year. Plays for Clark Reck in the Connie Mack League in the summer. 7 RBIs on the season. This one, ground ball to the shortstop side. Tucker fires over to first base for the first out of the inning.
A nice play by Chris Tucker. And again, you can see they're playing in. They're trying to cut off the run. They know if these 2 runs score, it's going to make it a little bit more tough on the Lawyers. And Tucker looks him back, sets, makes the good throw. Nice job by Chris Tucker, the shortstop.
Stephen Carbajal is now the batter for Lincoln West, and that was a breaking ball that got him to hit the ball into the ground. 6-4, Lincoln West with the lead. Lincoln West with 8 runs, 2 errors. Meanwhile, John Marshall, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. 1 out here, bottom of the 5th inning. Or make that the top of the 5th inning. Peters missing on that first pitch for a ball. Tries to go on the breaking ball to the outside part of the plate. Runs the count to 2-0. Runners at second and third. A big out is needed for the Lawyers of John Marshall. Peters becoming the third pitcher in this game. Missing on the breaking ball once again, and Peters thought he had it that time. And Eddie Blake talking to the home plate umpire and trying to see if he can get something from Henry Thompson. That one right down the pipe for a strike. Runs the count to 3-1. Oh, we started this game under sunny skies here at Jacobs Field. Cloudy sky, still windy. Temperature expected to be about 68 degrees today. But with that breeze, I would say we're looking at about 60.
Maybe 60. Maybe 60, Adam.
Now,
it was more like 50 with the wind.
Now, I heard that you promised our director that we were going to have a sunny day today.
I did have a sunny day. I just didn't see how long it was going to last.
Breaking ball misses. Bases are loaded now. Have to really thank the folks here at Jacobs Field behind the scenes, as well as our director and all the camera crew here for the great shots and the great work they are doing this afternoon here. You know, you can see it. The bases are loaded with Lincoln West Wolverines.
Antonio Nieves, top of the order, Adam. And you can see Eric Fry's made a decision. He's going to play the infield in.
missing on the outside part of the plate. Nieves singled and scored back in the 4th inning. He is 1 for 3 this afternoon. He gets a base hit, and this will blow this game wide open. Peters delivers. Ground ball right through the glove of Montez. That'll score 1. And now it extends the lead to 7-5. As Scarborough was able to score.
Well, you take a look at it here. He pulls the outside pitch, and it just past the outstretched arm of Frankie Montez. Chris Tucker, smart enough, covers third. Left fielder charges the ball, only gives Lincoln West the 1 run.
Well, up on the scoreboard, they marked the run for John Marshall, and it really should be for Lincoln West. They've scored 2 runs in this inning. This one a line error to the right fielder, and it gets by. That's going to clear the bases as it's going to go to the track. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. He's heading over to third once again, McElwain, and he gets in over to third base, but 3 runs score, and now that makes it a
Well, they've scored 3. It should be 9.
Yeah, it should be 9. It should be 9-4.
9-4.
So we'll give McElwain the triple as the bases get cleared off. And that'll bring up Alberto Rodriguez.
Here we go, 9-4. Lincoln West. Big hits. And again, John Marshall playing in, trying to cut off 1 more.
So 9-4 our score as Lincoln West opening it up. This one lined into left field, and a great catch being made by Sean Mullins. And the run will score on the sacrifice, and it makes it a 10-4 game.
Well, this is one thing that Eric Fry, I think, was referring to. When we get behind this kind of situation where you have the walks, then they get a couple big hits. He doesn't have the kind of hitters that are going to come back. Now they scrapped back and picked up 3 runs. So
and all with 2 outs.
Yeah.
5 runs in the 5th. For Lincoln West, they scored 1 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, and 5 in the 5th. They have a 10-4 lead.
And the coach from Lincoln West said if he had his choice between a high-scoring game or low, he wanted the high, and John Marshall definitely wanted the low-scoring game, and they're not going to get it today.
This one popped up to right field, and making the catch is James McCoy, and that ends the inning. But it's a big inning for Lincoln West as they score 5 runs in the 5th inning. They lead it 10-4 here in the 2004 Senate Baseball Championships.
Well, Adam, we've been talking all day about the Cleveland Municipal Schools and how things have gone. And realistically, a lot of people, a lot of hard work, and a lot of champions from the Cleveland Municipal Schools. And when you look at them, they're really, our hats off to all those organizations, those champions, the golf from Rhodes with the wrestling, obviously softball and baseball from a year ago. And again, it looks like Lincoln West will have a new champ this year. If still 2 more innings to play, so John Marshall has its work cut out for him. But also, when you talk about these groups, a lot of great stories, a lot of memorable moments put on by our student athletes from the Cleveland Municipal Schools. And oh, what a great job over at Rhodes High School. The boys basketball team gave us a lot to be proud of.
Oh, absolutely. And then you look at it for track, Collinwood on the girls' side and Glenville on the boys' side. Both of those two teams are competing down in Columbus, hoping to bring state titles back to the city of Cleveland and the Senate League.
Yeah, Louis Slapnick and Ted Ginn Sr. I mean, you look at those track programs, you know, year in and year out. Lou Slapnick has done a great job with the girls over at Collinwood High School, as well as you look at the swim teams from John Marshall. Our hats off to all our champions for an outstanding season. So there we are, 11-4. We finally got it all totaled up as we go to the top of the 6th inning. And Adam, when you look at it, the walks played a role, but Lincoln West, some big hits with men on base.
Oh, absolutely. 11 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 errors for John Marshall, as you see some of the folks here at Jacobs Field taking in a great ball game here for the Senate Championship. They went through the order. Lincoln West that inning. Now for John Marshall, they will go with Blake, Bircher, and Kurtz. Eddie Blake singled, was left stranded over at third base. Now in the last inning, John Marshall was able to come back and score 3 runs after Lincoln West took a big 5-1 lead. Can they do it again? Can they cut this lead?
Well, the key here is on the other side, Lincoln West, you just focus on throwing strikes here. You don't want to get cute. You've got the lead, throw strikes.
Eddie Burke coming into this game, 289 hitter. Plays a summer ball at Gunning Recreation. Favorite team, the Diamondbacks. Pitched a no-hitter against Glenville. And then he struck out 14 in their playoff game against Rhodes. And the last 7 batters he faced, he struck them out. 2-0 the count now. Eddie Blake, the senior captain, also a Greater Cleveland All-Star. McElwain pitches. The ball is grounded over to the shortstop. Rodriguez fires over to Diaz for the out. 1 up, 1 down. And that brings up Pete Bircher. Bircher got on an error. He's 0 for 1 in the game so far. The big key in this game, the 10 hits by Lincoln West, and at one point they like to play small ball and going in and bunting their way around. One ball, no strike. Make that 2 balls, no strikes. Breaking ball in for a strike. As we said, we started this game off under sunny skies. The clouds have been rolling in through downtown Cleveland. The wind still picking up, but really hasn't played much of a factor as that one gets by the shortstop Rodriguez as Bircher gets on base with a base hit. And that'll bring up Matt Kurtz, the first baseman. Now the key, Tim, can John Marshall work their way back? They don't have that much time to do it, but they need to get at least 2 or 3 runs to cut back and get into this game.
Well, as Bill Repa said earlier, it's easy. You put the ball in play and let's see what happens. On the defensive side for Lincoln West, you throw strikes and you let your defense win it for you. Defensively, Lincoln West has done pretty well today.
Well, the Lincoln or the John Marshall fans trying to get there and rally their team behind them. They are down 11-4. Kurtz up at the plate. That one into the ground as McElwain throws that one short. A runner at first base. John Marshall needs to get a couple of runs across the board. They find themselves down 11-4 that time. That one goes in for a strike, runs the count to 2-1.
You know, you talk about the big hits that they had, the Lincoln West team, but John Marshall has not died here. You can see they're just keep coming right at him.
Another base hit to right field. Runner advances over to third. Runners at first and third as Bircher goes to third on the single by Kurtz. He went with the pitch and just followed it and hit it in the right field.
Who would have thought we'd be in 6 innings and we're talking 15 runs, 18 hits with only 3 errors?
Well, we thought it was going to be somewhat of a defensive battle, but in the last 3 innings, that has not been the case. And
now they're going to bring in Edgardo Diaz.
so Edgardo Diaz will be at the pitcher's mound, and then they will bring in.
They move Scarborough, their third baseman, over to first, and it looks like they're going to move McElwain over to third.
Got it? There's more shuffling out on the field than a deck of cards.
I'll tell you. You know, when we had talked to Tom Castleberry before the game, we said, well, do you know who you might go with? He says, it depends on what situation we're in.
He's going to throw everybody and the kitchen sink out there. Right now, he's got to be sitting pretty with an 11-4 lead.
But, you know, John Marshall, when you look at their team, they still have the nucleus of those kids that have been to these championship games with them. And when you look at the Pete Birchers, the Eddie Blakes, those are the kind of guys that basically know that, hey, you play this thing out all the way to the end. You never know what can happen.
Well, you look at John Marshall. If you look at their starting lineup, there's only 3 seniors in that starting lineup. We've seen these kids time and time again. You figure they're all seniors, but they're not. The only seniors they have are Tucker, Bircher, and McCoy. And then of their reserve players, they only have 2 seniors. Next year, this is going to be a senior-laden team, but then you look at Lincoln West, they have 3 seniors in their starting lineup as well. Both of these are young ball clubs. They could possibly be back here next year contending for a city title once again. So Edgardo Diaz is now the pitcher for Lincoln West. The left-hander brings that one in for a strike. Runners at first and third for John Marshall in this game. Bonilla walked and tripled. He had ripped a rope the last time up. That one just missing for a ball. We're going to call that one a strike. Okay.
I tell you.
Oh, boy.
We're going to be nice. We're going to be nice now.
I'll just tap my pencil. Count goes to 2-1 on the hitter, Bonilla.
You know, I've noticed that we've had a couple looks in there. You're like, well, where was it?
Runners at first and third for Bonilla. Diaz delivers. Swing and a miss. That brings the count to 2-2 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lincoln West with an 11-4 lead. As Diaz looks in for the sign, he fires. Breaking ball, that one hung out there. Bonilla, the DH, hitting .324 on the season. Next year, do a little bit of pitching and catching. Umpire says, take your base, young man, and the bases are loaded for John Marshall. Bonilla at first on the walk. Kurtz over at second, and Bircher is at third, and that brings up Sean Mullins, who got an RBI last inning with a sacrifice fly to left field. He is hoping for a big base hit right now. That one in for a strike. Coach says he's a streaky hitter, but he has to really trust himself when he's up to the plate. And that time he swings and misses, quickly goes down 0-2 on the count. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, if he hangs back and keeps his hands in, he's in good shape here.
Diaz throws that one low for a ball. The bases are loaded. Bircher is at third, Kurtz at second, and Bonilla is at first. Diaz delivers up high. Evens the count at 2-2. Infield, as you look at it, pretty much playing straight away, normal depth. The pitch by Diaz, got him swinging.
I think he helped him there, Adam.
That's a big strikeout for Diaz.
Tell you, I don't know if he had the plate, but it sure seemed like he tried to take the ball to right field. But as you mentioned, it's a big out, and now it's going to be left up to
James McCoy is now up to the plate as Mullins may have twisted his neck on that one. He had to reach out for that pitch, but he goes down swinging. A big, big strikeout for Edgardo Diaz. 2 outs, and the bases are still loaded for James McCoy. He singled and scored his last time up. That time the count goes even at 1-1 after the strike. On deck is Darrell Peters. McCoy struck out and singled and scored his last time up. That one just missing.
You know, lefties used to drive me batty.
See, I liked lefties.
They just
There was just something about a left-handed pitcher that just made me salivate. It's that one. He pulls a little bit something off that one, and he gets him swinging for a strike. That evens the count at 2-2. This is a big pitch for Edgardo Diaz. The bases are loaded for John Marshall. They are threatening to score once again. They need to push some runs across the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here, bottom of the 5th inning, 11-4. Lincoln West leads it. Here comes the pitch. This one is popped up to center field.
Dwayne Jones.
And Dwayne Jones comes up with the big catch and the big out, and Edgardo Diaz comes up and shuts down John Marshall as they had the threat out there with the bases loaded. They put up a goose egg on the board, and it's still 11-4 Lincoln West in the 2004 Senate Championships here at Jacobs Field.
I'll tell you, there's some smiles in this house right now, Adam. They kind of got a feeling that there might be a new champion before this is all said and done.
That is a big, big inning for Lincoln West. 11 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. And the faithful from John Marshall saying, hey guys, come on, we know you guys can do it, as you look into the bench area, into the dugout for Lincoln West. And that's a big, big inning for the Wolverines as Diaz was able to put up a goose egg, even though John Marshall was able to get the bases loaded. No runs went across.
There they are. The Lincoln West Wolverines and their fan base got a lot to smile about so far. 3 outs away. And the guy that's come up and came in and nailed the door for him right here, Edgar Diaz, will be leading it off. He also showed some power the last time up. Tripled all the way to the right center field gap.
Well, Diaz started it off back in the 5th inning with the triple and scored. In that 5th inning, Lincoln West sent 9 batters up to the plate, and they were able to score 6 runs. The line score for Lincoln West, 11 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. For John Marshall, 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error.
I'd really like to know, Adam, on the walks, how each team did walk-wise and how many of those guys scored. When you talk about the walks, it was a big key in today's game that both coaches said we need to stay away from the walks.
Well, John Marshall has given up 4 walks. 2 of the batters that walked scored.
And the Lincoln West team,
Lincoln West, 1 walk, and no runs. So the walks have not hurt Lincoln West. So Edgardo Diaz, the pitcher of record now in this game for Lincoln West calls time as
The first 3 innings were 1-1, but the fourth and the fifth have put up a lot of crooked numbers. I'll tell you.
yeah, Lincoln West scoring 1 in the third, 4 in the fourth, and 6 in the fifth. That 6-run fifth inning was really big for the Wolverines. Diaz gets another base hit as he hits this one up the middle. So to add to the triple, he adds a single, and he's walked twice in this game.
Well, you look at here, see how he keeps his head down, drives the ball right through the middle. A nice job, Edgar.
That brings up Mike Scarborough, the third baseman. He walked and scored his last time out, 0 for 2 with a walk. That is the 11th hit for Lincoln West in this game. As Pete Bircher fires that one in. Bircher now in the pitch for the John Marshall Lawyers, and really Coach Fry is throwing everybody and anybody he can out there, but he's going to need to get the bats going for the Lawyers of John Marshall. That one missing on the outside part of the plate and runs the count to 1-1. Bircher fires back over to Kurtz. Diaz back in time. Bunt to the pitcher. Looks over to second, throws him out over at first. The small ball works again for Lincoln West as they advance the runner.
So now it is going to be up to number 18.
Nick Neese. Neese got on an error and scored.
We've been talking about some of these favorite teams and players. What's this with Nick Neese? Yankees and Derek Jeter?
He's young.
Well,
you still have to mold. You have to mold him. He doesn't know any better. See, but I'm from New York, and I don't like the Yankees. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn, so I was a Mets fan.
Well,
he waited on that curveball, popped that one out, and a nice play being made by the second baseman. And the catch is made by Darrell Peters for the out. Brings up 2 outs.
he's done a nice job today. If you look at Darrell Peters, he's had a nice game. Been able to hit the ball a little bit, play good defense.
And with the out brings up Anthony Miranda. Runner still at second base. Line foul down the third base side. Gonna have to just wait about a half second more.
Well, I'll tell you what, I used to remember when I was coaching, I knew those guys that would pull the line. If you watch third base, he kind of moves back more in foul territory every time.
Bircher delivers, breaking ball in for a strike. But it had some hang time on the break.
Kind of fooled him that time.
There you see Miranda saying, okay, let's try to figure out what he's going to come with. 0-2. Probably the fastball. Yes, he does, and he gets him on a strikeout. John Marshall leaves one man on base, but they hold him scoreless here in the top of the sixth inning, but Lincoln West still leads it 11-4.
Well, Adam, as we go into the bottom of the sixth inning, you know, one of the things that sticks out in my mind here is that you look at this game and you're saying, okay, they've got 19 hits, 15 runs, but one of the things Tom Castleberry said is we need to hit, and that was one of his keys before the game. We need to hit and put the ball in play. And when he looks back at this game, he's going to feel awfully good about this team because they have done exactly what they needed to do.
And it was fundamental baseball. You get a guy on base, you move him over to second with a bunt. You get a guy on second, you move him over. And that's what they did. They played small ball. They didn't need to get the big hits. They got them when they needed it, but they were able to really get out on the field. When they got up to the plate, they were able to really they worked hard to get on base and to score. And then they got the big hits that made all the difference of the world.
So in case you just joined us on CLV TV 23, we're at Jacobs Field, where it's the Cleveland Municipal Schools Championship. You're looking at Edgar Diaz for the Lincoln West Wolverines as they lead 11-4. A sunny day it started. It's a little bit cloudy, but clear.
Wait. How do you get cloudy and clear?
No rain.
Oh, okay.
And anytime you say no rain in Cleveland, especially this spring.
Usually in June, we're talking about temperatures in the 80s. We did have temperatures expected to hit about 68. I think that was with the sun, but with the clouds rolling in, I'd say, and the breeze, you're probably looking at the mid to lower 60s.
And you look at this situation here also, Adam, you take one inning at a time, 3 outs. Darrell Peters.
Lefty against lefty. Peters struck out his first time up, singled and scored his last time up. Bottom of the 6th, 11-4, Lincoln West with the lead. That one goes up high. Looking at the outfield situation and how they're setting up, the center fielder, Jones, is playing very, very shallow. He is in, and he's just daring them to hit it over his head.
A little bit of a surprise, but again, they may know something from watching them play. And Lincoln West, remember, beat them earlier in the year, 7-2.
And now they have an 11-4 lead. The count goes to 3-1. The pitch up high, he walks him. So Peters gets on base again. That brings up the top of the lineup. Chris Tucker, 0 for 3 in the ball game. When you look at the 1 and 2 hitters, they've only been able to, the 1, 2, 3 hitters, they've only been able to get 1 run and only 2 hits out of their first 3 hitters. Tucker with 2 ground outs and a fly out. Looking to make something happen, hitting .373 coming into today's game. Count evens up at 1-1. Diaz seems to have been going all over the place on his location.
Look at his head when he throws the ball here. See how it kind of jerks off where he's not really looking at the plate? His head starts there and it goes straight down. And it's like he's not looking at the target, it seems like. Now, if you watch him here, you watch when he goes to follow through, his head almost goes straight down. See it?
Yep. Tucker gets a base hit as he waits for the breaking ball. That'll send over Peters to third base. And once again, runners on base for John Marshall as they need to make things happen with very little time left in this ball game.
You know, a lot of times as a coach, you say it's the little things. Now, again, a curveball here. Chris Tucker goes with it. Again, they got first and third. But again, Lincoln West is playing for the outs.
Joel Minaya comes up to the plate. He scored his first time up after he doubled. He is 2 for 3. He singled his last time up, struck out before that. So Minaya looking to get a couple of RBIs in for the Lawyers of John Marshall. As Diaz's pitch goes up high. 2-0 the count. Runners at first and third for John Marshall. They're down 11-4. Diaz fires in for a strike.
I'll tell you, lefties do it to you all the time, Adam. All the left-handers I coached, they used to be a little flaky, but they would just drive me batty.
That one fouled away into the stands. off the facade.
And watching Diaz, just from the first batter this inning now through, it seems like he pitches better from the stretch position. He's more focused than he was with the windup.
That one's going to leave a bruise.
Oof.
That one hit off the facade and then off the back of the young lady down here, down in the stands, but she seems to be doing okay. That's a wake-up call.
So 3-2, full count.
No outs. Marshall needing to get back into this game. They're down 11-4. Diaz is going to fire. Ground ball. Shortstop side. Fires off the back of his foot. Doesn't go. Ball gets away from the first baseman. 1 run will score. The runners will advance. So Peters scores. Tucker is over at third. Manaya gets on the single and then advances on the error. Made a good attempt throwing off the back heel. And that just made the runners advance, and it is now a 11-5 lead for Lincoln West.
And still nobody out.
Runners at second and third with Eddie Blake, the team captain, up to the plate. One of the top catchers in Northeast Ohio. Ooh, pulled something off that one, took a little bit off that pitch and got him swinging for a strike. 0-2 quickly, he is down on the count. Runners at second and third for Edgardo Diaz, the pitcher for Lincoln West. Battles that one away and fouls it away. John Marshall with 1 run in the 6th. Their biggest output has been in the 4th inning with 3 runs. But that still leaves them 6 short as they're down 11-5. Infield on the right side for Lincoln West is playing in. Got him on a changeup once again for a strikeout. Big strikeout for Diaz.
You know, the thing is, if you look at the strikeouts that Diaz had, all the balls have been away. You see here, see how that pitch is high and out? Like they're trying to go to right field with it.
That is the 6th strikeout for Lincoln West as a team in this ball game, and that brings up Pete Bircher. He singled his last time up. Runners on second and third. He needs a big base hit. That one in for a strike. Bircher flied out, also got a single. Diaz delivers, just missing. Carvajal trying to really spot the final arrival of the pitch, to no avail. 2-1 the count. This one is hit into right field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. That'll score 1. Coming around is Manaya. He'll score easily. That's the 3rd run scored for John Marshall. That is their 11th base hit of the ball game. And the lead is cut down to 11-7. 2 RBIs there for Pete Bircher.
Again, give them credit. They're taking the outside pitch and going to right field.
And that will bring up Matt Kurtz. So they've slowly chipped away as Diaz goes up high. Now, if John Marshall, they had runners in scoring position back in the 5th inning. If they were able to get 1 or 2 of those runs, they'd be right back into the thick of this game, maybe being down by just 1. That one in for a strike. So Edgardo Diaz giving up a couple of runs. 3 runs here in the 6th inning. As Kurtz, the first baseman, takes a strike. 22 hits in this ball game between these two teams. 18 runs scored between Lincoln West And John Marshall, Lincoln West with the lead 11-7 as Diaz fires. This one is hit high in the left center into left field. Coming in is Barreto. That one drops. It's a base hit, and Bircher was really held up because he thought the left fielder was going to be able to make a play on it, and he's only able to get to second base.
Well, Adam,
Here we go again.
you got it. Again, you see here, ball just kept blowing away.
And that time, I think the wind had a factor on it because the wind has been blowing from center field to left field, and that just carried the ball to the line. Because it looked like he had a beat on it, but at the end, the ball was just starting to go away from him. And that brings up the manager, Castleberry, to talk to Diaz. 11-7, 1 out. Now, the thing is, you can't fault Bircher for only being at second base because he was playing the right way on the run.
Yeah, you definitely, I mean, you're the base runner. You're down by 4 here. Your run doesn't mean anything. You got a fly ball. It looks like a normal fly ball. All of a sudden, the ball starts
To drift away, yeah.
It was definitely the wind. I mean, the wind's going from right field to left.
So Diaz will remain in. Now the John Marshall crowd sensing that they might be back into this ball game. Up high, up to the plate is Alex Bonilla. He tripled and scored back in the 4th inning. He's walked twice today. And that went in for a strike. Evens the count at 1-1. 3 runs so far scored for John Marshall in the 6th inning. This one is hit high, down the right field line, and foul.
Patient hitter, the 2 walks and the triple. Love to pick up one more big hit here.
Runners at first and second. Diaz delivers. Breaking ball outside. And that breaking ball had the speed of something I would throw normally as a fastball.
That was that knuckleball they were talking about.
Swing and a miss. He got him swinging. Big strikeout for Diaz. And I think it was that quick. He came in and he's just like, okay, I'm not waiting. I'm just going to fire. He worked the batter very quickly.
Yeah, the off speed definitely set this fastball up inside. So now it's up to number 8.
Sean Mullins struck out his last time. Has struck out twice in this game. Got an RBI on a sacrifice fly. Fouls that one back.
You know, the coach had told us about Sean. He's the type of guy that, as you said, he looks bad on one pitch the next, but his thing is he's always out in front. He tries to tell him, keep your hands back.
That one missing.
It's almost like when you watch this batter, Adam, in his stance, he's like ready to run toward the pitcher.
Diaz, the lefty, fires. Upstairs once again. Runs the count to 2-2. Diaz has been throwing a lot of pitches in the last couple of innings. 11-7. Lincoln West with the lead over John Marshall. Bottom of the 6th inning. Runner daring him. He's going. He swings. Strikes him out. Gets the last 2 batters to strike out to end the inning. But John Marshall gets 3 runs across in the bottom of the 6th. As we head towards the 7th inning, it's Lincoln West 11, John Marshall 7.
Well, you're looking at it, folks. 23 hits, 18 runs. And we finally have reached the 7th inning. And it's going to come down to, does John Marshall have enough left to overcome the deficit and retain their 2-year reign on the baseball championship? Yes, that's 2 consecutive years that John Marshall's been there, and now it comes down to one more opportunity. They'll need 4 runs to tie and 5 to win, and they need to hold them right here.
Well, Tim, that 5th inning was a big inning for John Marshall. Or I should say for Lincoln West. They were able to hold them scoreless because if you look at it, for John Marshall, they scored 3 in the 4th, and none in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th. If they were able to get 1 or 2 runs across, that might make a difference coming into the 7th inning of play. But let's see what John Marshall can do because they put up the goose egg in the 6th. Can they do it again in the 7th and then make the bats come alive to try to recapture another city championship?
You know, the one thing when you go back and look at this game, Adam, there were so many pivotal points. You know, sometimes they'll look at the offense as far as big hits, but I look back at one opportunity where Lincoln West really took a stand. It started with this guy coming up to the plate, Carbajal. You know, Marshall likes to run and create, and when Carbajal came up and threw that guy out at second base to end the inning, that basically sent a message, hey, you're not going to run here. And I think that was definitely one of the pivotal points in today's game. Got Bobby DiBiasio stopping by. Bob?
How are you?
Good. How are you? Why don't you sit down with us?
Sure.
Let me get you hooked up.
We've had everybody here checking in on this ball game. That one banged right up the middle. Picked up by Tucker. Fires over to first base for the out.
Bobby, if we told you that we could get you 23 hits every time in Jacobs Field for the Indians, I'll tell you what, Eric Fry would be a happy camper.
Yes, he would. I'll tell you one thing, though. Unfortunately, a lot of scoring late in the games. We're used to that, unfortunately, the way we've been playing. We got to get our bullpen straight now. We'd be in first place right now, the Cleveland Indians. Watching these young men perform out here today is such a treat. The Indians organization is just so very happy that we have the opportunity to allow these kids to have fulfill a lifetime dream to get on a major league diamond, and it's been a very crisp game, even with 23 hits. That play right there by that shortstop was a wonderful play.
Yeah, they've really surprised us in a lot of ways here today, as far as not only putting the hits in play, but they've made some great plays as well. But Bobby, when you look at it, we had Melissa Zaponte here earlier from Cleveland Indian Charities, and you know, our tribute goes off to the Cleveland Indians and what they do in the community, because it really is, I call it the hidden story. A lot of people aren't aware. They think of Cleveland Indians, they think strictly of the baseball team, but it's really more than that.
Well, we know that we have a civic treasure here in the Cleveland Indians, and it's our responsibility to provide a little pop-up behind the plate here. Good play by the catcher.
Eddie Blake making the nice play for the out. 2 outs in the inning.
2 down now, top of the 7th. It's going to be interesting to see what John Marshall might be able to do here in the bottom of the inning if they can get a big rally going. But, Timmy, it's, you know, one of the things that is most important to us is obviously to allow young athletes the opportunity to continue to play baseball, but the playing of baseball is almost secondary to all the skills that they learn to become better citizens, better adults, you know, the discipline, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the confidence that you need, and to overcome fears, and all the things that we look for in young adults.
That one popped up the left field, and the shortstop comes in as Tucker crashes into Mullins, but he makes the out. As we head towards the bottom of the 7th inning, can John Marshall come back? They're down 11-7.
I'll tell you, that left field's been something, Adam. You know, we're lucky no one got called out, no one got hurt on the play. But again, you got to give Tucker credit. He knew that the way the wind's been blowing to get out there and help him. But Bobby, truthfully, you're right about the Tribe. You know, I told, I was down at spring training. I came back and everybody asked, what do you think? I said, I'll tell you what, I said, my biggest concerns are hitting. Everything else looks great. I come back, we're hitting, and the bullpen fell apart.
You know, you talk to anybody, Mr. Trevisano, Bill Wells, Casey Coleman, Bruce Drennan, any of the Schwabe and Kevin Keene, all the guys who were down there did the same thing you did. If we can generate some offense, this team will have a pitching staff and a defense that will at least keep us in ball games, and especially a bullpen that seems to be pretty strong. And then all of a sudden, at the start of the year, the bullpen was just, unfortunately lost either its confidence or what had happened. But, right from game one, we found that we just couldn't have any consistency at the back end. And Eric's doing all he can to find the right formula for that. But you can see the makings of some very good young athletes, the kind of development of a Travis Hafner and a Victor Cruz specifically, and Jody seems to be settling in as a very solid performer. Cliff Lee, although he lost his first game last night, obviously is a tremendous pitcher. So we feel good about what's ahead. We have a great farm system, and we know one of the things that we know is what pieces of the puzzle we need to fix. And that is an important element. If you have 5 pieces to fix, you're not going to be able to do that in a short period of time. But we know we have, finite pieces of the puzzle to fix. Well, here's the bottom of the 7th. We'll see if we can get a rally out of John Marshall.
Well, they've been able to score a couple of runs after they were down to Lincoln West, and they find themselves down 11-7. Bottom of the order, McCoy, Peters, and Tucker.
They changed pitchers here.
Scarborough.
They brought in Scarborough.
So each team throwing everything out there for this championship game. John Marshall with 4 pitchers in the game. Lincoln West going to their 3rd pitcher, and Scarborough brings that one in for a strike. Evens the count at 1-1. The line score for Lincoln West: 11 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors. For John Marshall, 7 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. That one just missing, as Carbajal was saying, thought we had it that time.
Adam, I know we talked to Tom Castleberry before the game about this pitcher, and he felt like he had told us, he said, listen, it depends on the situation on who we're going to bring in, but I really believe he feels like he's the guy that he wants to finish these games for him. It almost sits like he has a lot of confidence out there, and he's just going to pound the strike zone.
2-2 pitch, breaking ball, in for a strikeout.
Pitch! Oh my!
He got him looking on that one. He rings him up on the backward K.
That was an outstanding pitch. It was an outstanding pitch selection at that time. He had thrown him 2 straight fastballs, and he had fouled them off, and then all of a sudden you change speeds a little bit. At any level of baseball, you change some speeds, you're going to get the guy out.
Oh, absolutely, and that brings up Darrell Peters. He has scored his last 2 times up as he fouls that one back. They're getting close this year. This is the closest we've been getting to foul balls this year.
They're after you.
That's why we're trying to stay way up here away from them.
We'll move you down a little closer if you want next year.
No, we're fine.
Tim will want to be right behind the net.
We could give you a ball glove, Tim.
No.
See how your quickness is these days?
No.
We know Carmen can handle a glove.
I've got to the point now, Bob, where I tell him, you sit next to me with the glove. And he comes this way, you're here to protect me.
Big swing and a miss on the strike, 0-2 the count.
You're right, he comes in and throws strikes, this young man.
0-2, 1 out. Peters, like we said, he struck out his first time up. He singled and walked, just missing that time. Well, the Lincoln West crowd trying to encourage their players to break the string of 2 straight city championships by John Marshall. Breaking ball gets him swinging again. Set him up nicely, rings up another K.
There's some excitement on the first base side. They smell it at him. And Scarborough, the coach had told us, this guy just loves to play baseball.
7 strikeouts now for Lincoln West pitching. And that brings up Chris Tucker.
Another breaking ball with 2 strikes. Let's see if he has the same pattern here.
The Lincoln West crowd on the first base side up on their feet. They can sense and smell that 2004 championship as the breaking ball goes up high.
There's that sun we were talking about.
At least there was no rain to deal with.
That's what I
That
told,
was beautiful.
I told Danny Sevick, I said, Danny, what's the rain? I said, there is no rain planned. It's going to be a great day tomorrow, all sunny.
Yeah.
Bobby, they were getting on me earlier when the clouds came. I said, we're in good shape.
Good
Jacobs
shape.
Field is beaming today.
1-1 count here.
Well, as the sun breaks through the clouds, here comes the pitch from Scarborough. Fastball in there for a strike.
All right, Carmen's, he going to throw a breaking ball here. He's got a 1-2 count.
He's got the 1-2. I bet you he's
Yep.
going to go with the curveball once again.
See if his pattern's the same.
1-2 pitch. 2 outs. Breaking ball, ground ball over to the first baseman. That gets through for a base hit. So Chris Tucker keeps John Marshall alive.
Not quite as sharp a breaking ball as he had on the first 2 hitters, but that obviously is his out pitch. When he's got 2 strikes on a hitter, he likes to throw the bender.
And that brings up Joel Manaya.
You know what impresses me about Chris Tucker is we've watched him hit a couple curveballs the opposite way. When you see that these hitters can go with the pitch, that means they're going to be a great hitter. A lot of times at this level, they're always trying to pull the ball, but here, these kids hit the ball the other way. They do a nice job.
Well, you look at last year's team for John Marshall, they had 2 players, Theo Hudson and Carlos LeBoy. They went on to go play at Cleveland State. They didn't get much playing time this year for Cleveland State, being freshmen, but they're going to help out that Viking program. Cleveland State ended up going to the finals of their conference tournament. Big pitch and a big strike there, 0-2 the count.
Here we go again, 0-2. Another breaking ball.
Well,
I'm with you, Bobby.
I think so.
Let's see if he can keep it off the plate, though.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner on first base. Scarborough delivers. Fastball, swing and a miss.
Smart pitching right there.
Lincoln West has won the 2004 City Championship as they come up and upset defending champion John Marshall here at Jacobs Field with an 11-7 win, breaking the 2-year reign of the Lawyers of John Marshall.
Well, Bobby, there's your answer for Cleveland Indians. You see how many people are happy here in the house.
Yep.
Our special thanks, Bobby, for coming by and being a part of this.
Our pleasure, guys. We thank you for being here to broadcast this to all the people of Cleveland, and we couldn't have had a better day. Some great athleticism out there with these student athletes, and we're just glad to be a part of it.
Well, folks, stay with us, because when we come back, Adam and I will have our city champions. Welcome back to Jacobs Field. You've been watching the Cleveland Municipal Schools Championship right here on CLV TV 23. And Eric Fry, John Marshall. Welcome back to Jacobs Field. You've been watching the Cleveland Municipal Schools Championship right here on CLV TV 23. And Eric Fry, John Marshall. You've been watching the Cleveland Municipal. Welcome back to Jacobs Field. You've been watching the Cleveland Municipal Schools Championship right here on CLV TV 23. And Eric Fry, John Marshall, you've been here. You know what it takes to win it the last couple of years. Sometimes they say it's tougher the third year, but today your kids put a lot of effort but just came up a little short.
Yeah, Tim, they played really well. They fought back hard. They didn't give up. I'm proud of them. We got a lot of kids that are new to varsity, but nobody in this dugout ever gave up. You can't take anything away from Lincoln West. They hit the ball. They got some big hits, and they've had a real nice season, and they're a nice team.
Okay, John, you have a special presentation of John's story.
Coach Fry and Team John Marshall, on behalf of the CEO, Barbara Bird Bennett, and the Commissioner of Athletics, Leonard B. Jackson, we present you the runner-up trophy for 2004 baseball. Congratulations.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
Eric, you had said to us before the ball game there was a couple concerns. One is we didn't want to give up a lot of walks, and then the other key was that you didn't want to get into a high-scoring game. When you look back, your team fought back that one stretch, but again, you got into the high-scoring game and everything just rolled from there.
Well, sure. They fought back hard, and I was proud of them. You get they got a couple of bases-loaded triples, and that's hard to come back from. That's baseball. Those are the big hits. Unfortunately for us today, we just didn't get them.
You know, when you talk about your team, when you look at it, Adam and I both were talking, young team, both of these teams usually strong fundamentally. I guess the obvious question is, will the Lawyers be back?
I sure hope so. I hope we're all back. The Senate has really improved. You've seen this. There's a couple of good teams that didn't get here. The Senate's very competitive now in baseball, and we need to keep it going.
Well, again, congratulations. Obviously, this game didn't go the way you want, but your season was one tremendous season. You guys really did an outstanding job all year long. Many of the athletes behind you have a lot to be proud of, and congratulations.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to go over to Adam, who is with our city champions.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. We are here with the 2004 Senate champions in baseball, Lincoln West. Coach, when you look at this game, it got tight at one point. You had a big lead. John Marshall was able to come back, but then you guys came in and started playing small ball. Those bunts in that one inning really helped you out.
Yeah, the first one we were just looking to get a hit, just to move somebody over so we can make one hit would score a run. And once we got a hit out of that one, we went for another one. I think that might have just been more of a surprise one. He laid it in a perfect spot, and we got another base hit, and then we followed it up with a big hit to clear the bases.
A lot of runs being scored at the latter part of the game, but that inning where you held John Marshall scoreless, that had to be a big key because they came back in. You guys got a lead, and then you shut them down, and then they still be able to score some runs later on. But that big inning where you got the goose egg, that really helped you out.
Yeah, in that inning, we were just hoping when we came back in, I said, we just need to go out and shut the door here so that we kind of take some of the momentum away so they don't come back on us. And our relief pitchers did a great job today. It's stepping in. I don't care if people are on base. It didn't matter. They just came in and took care of it.
Well, your pitchers combined for 7 strikeouts this afternoon to lead you to a city championship. And I think we've got some hardware that you're very anxious about picking up.
Thank you. Coach, on behalf of Cleveland Municipal School District, CEO Barbara Bird Bennett, and the Commissioner of Athletics, Leonard B. Jackson, I'd like to present you with the championship trophy for the Senate Athletic Team.
Try not to break it. Don't break it.
Well, Coach, when you look at it and you look at these players and the season, it's probably been one of the worst springs we've had weather-wise, and what a way to end it under sunny skies here at Jacobs Field.
It couldn't have been any better. I told them you guys complain and complain. We had to sit in the gym during the rain and why we had to go hit in the cage, and I told them this was the reason why. Now they can go celebrate.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Lincoln West, your 2004 city champions in the Senate League. Well, Tim, we end 10 years here at Jacobs Field. We have as Jacobs Field is celebrating their 10th anniversary, and now we have Lincoln West, 3-time city champions.
Yeah, when you look at Lincoln West, they came in here with one mission, to take away the city crown from the John Marshall team, and they did it with their bats, their gloves, and a lot of team spirit. When you talk about it, they'll look at the high-scoring game, 24 hits, 18 runs, but 2004 definitely belonged to the Lincoln West Wolverines.
Well, there you have it, folks. Your 2004 city champions in baseball, the Lincoln West Wolverines. For my partner, Tim Wells, I'm Adam Mendoza. Thank you for joining us for the 2004 City Championships on CLV TV 23.